Here we go.
Due to the adult subject matter of the following program, some listeners may find the content offensive, outrageous, or unsuitable. You know, like religious freaks, uptight losers, or little wussy mama's boys. Please listen responsibly.
You're listening to The Vocal Minority with Nick Reynolds and Steve Harness.
Hot. How much time?
You're hot.
I love scotch. I love scotch. Scotchy, scotch, scotch. Here it goes down into my belly. That is good.
You're on the air.
How are you? You look awfully nice tonight. Maybe don't wear a bra next time. How much time till we're on? What?
We're on the air right now.
I'm ready.
Are you ready?
Dow, I think we're as ready as we're going to be here on this 24th of October is recording date for episode number 9 of Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve a la Brewski.
Yes. Number nine. We're about to double digits, everybody. They've yet to stop us.
Look at that, dude.
They're trying.
They've tried. Yeah, they've made solid efforts to do so, and it's pretty early for them to be making such solid efforts to shut the program down.
I don't know. I take that as a compliment. I think when you hit the ground running and you're getting calls from angry listeners and lawyers and everyone else, like, hey, we must be doing something right.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Vocal Minority, episode number 9. You can see us online at thevocalminority.net.
Yep. And
Contact
find us on
through the page.
social. Yeah, contact us through the website, social media, any of that kind of stuff. But the key word is here, contact us. We want to hear from you people. Everyone listening right now, I've said it before, I'm going to keep saying it, you're in on the ground floor. We are growing slowly. But if you're listening to this and you're finding it even mildly amusing, tell somebody, for the love of God. Seriously.
We're growing slowly like a 48, 49-year-old boner. Does your boner grow slower than it used to, or does it just poop?
No,
Yes.
I'm doing just fine.
No, it's kind of slow.
Really?
You got a slower build on it. Steve's always bragging that he just chubs up right away. You have no issues. You've never had an issue, a sexual issue, Steve?
No. I mean, not a tangible kind of one like that. And I'm on Propecia because I'm trying to keep as much of this as I still have up there. And my doctor, for the first time, told me, like, hey, by the way, is it slowing you down sexually? Like a lot of men experience decreased libido or trouble with erection. I'm like, nope. Doing just fine. If this is slowed down, then you may want to take me down another notch.
Have you ever had a rough night at all, like where you couldn't perform just one night? Something was off?
Yeah, once in a blue moon. And even that, I got to kind of stretch the memory banks to really come up with that. Now, I mean, I can tell you every new relationship when you have to start off wearing condoms and whatnot, I hate condoms, you know? I've got an A game that I can normally bring, but if I have to wrap it up, like, it takes it down a notch, you know? Because I have this psychological thing. Like, the first time I ever tried to have sex, I fumbled and stumbled with the condom so much that I lost my erection, and then I'm like, God, you know, I got all in my head.
Yeah.
And that has haunted me for the last, 30 years or whatever. So whenever condoms come out, I get it ripped open first, I get it ready so that when I'm prime and ready, I just throw that thing on and keep going. But then you got to maintain. Because I like to kind of have a little ebb and flow. Like if things go up and down, if I'm at 90% hard, I can still keep going and then it gets back up. Or, but when the condom's involved, it's just, you've got to stay on that game the whole time. So that's the only issues I ever have.
Yeah. Well, it is. You bring up a solid point. You do get things in your head. And then if you let that take over your mind, it'll live with you forever, such as the condom. You know what I mean? Like, I've got a few of those things in my head, and I can't even think of them, to be honest with you, right now. But when it happens during a sexual encounter, I know it pops out, and I'm just like, why do I let this take over my sexual chemistry that's happening right at this moment? Whether it's an insecurity or what, I don't know exactly, but I have a couple of them that pop up every now and again.
Yep.
Insecurity. What do you mean? Like performance-wise or what?
Yes. I have an insecurity pop up every once in a while, performance wise, that I am doing the job that I want to deliver. Or if I'm just gonna get off too soon, if it's been a little while and I'm gonna come too quickly, I'm not a guy who can do that and then just strap like, let's go again 1 minute later. I can't. I need about 20 minutes or 25 minutes to a half an hour.
Interesting. You know, it's
I
funny.
just can't
Like,
do it.
in my 20s and 30s, I would agree with that. Like, once I was done, I was done. But I don't know. Somehow in my 40s here, I've hit a different stride where I just I chug a little Gatorade and I get back in there. But again, condoms, you can't do that. Like, this is assuming you're in a good relationship and you can just go, bareback. Because otherwise, no, putting the condom back on, like, no. Like, then it is done.
But what's your wait time? If you get off, how long before you can perform again?
I'll tell you, dude. I mean, again, historically, I guess you need 5 or 10 minutes. But I got into a weird zone in these last few years of my life where I didn't need any downtime. There would be times I would come and I'd just keep on going. Didn't even stop.
Yeah.
Wow, that's champion status, dude.
Yeah.
I'm not capable of that.
I didn't think I was either, but apparently I am. And
Brewski, you sound like you're on my team. You can't perform right away again, or you need a little time, or what?
God, in my 20s, I mean, there were nights where I was pulling double duty.
What does that mean? Like
two different women in one night, or
yes, yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, pulling double duty. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah.
A little skanky, but impressive.
But what do you mean? Like,
come on, Steve. This is me you're talking about. Of course.
Yeah. Well, in your 20s too, so that's fine.
Well, 20s.
What do you mean though? Double duty? Do you mean like you make sex with one girl and then get off, and then there's another girl like right there in the same bedroom, and you do it right then, or do you drive to her house?
No, you're talking like hours later. You're then with another woman in the same night.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah. That was kind of a regular occurrence for me in my 20s. I just had, because it was this older lady that I knew who, was always free at nighttime, and so I could go to her house afterwards. And so, yeah.
Wow.
Brewski, are you a cuddler? I imagine you to maybe be a cuddler at the end of a session.
You got to give me a few minutes to cool down. Otherwise, it's like sitting in a vinyl seat in a car during the summer.
Yeah,
you're sticking and it's uncomfortable. Give me a few minutes to cool down, and then you're getting that. You're not getting that sort of thing.
Okay, I understand that. Steve, this is a question I have for you.
Yeah.
You've gotten in better shape over the last 2 years or whatever, right?
Yeah, and that might have something to do with it, quite frankly.
Yeah,
say again.
That might have something to do with my increased stamina.
Yeah, and I wonder, do you still feel like when you're going hardcore, like you get a cramp every once in a while, or are you just all balls to the walls, like, oh, I got to switch positions, my thighs are getting sore, or whatever? You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's occasionally a leg cramp issue that will creep in on me, but I'm pretty good at readjusting to keep going with that flow. I'll tell you the biggest issue I had over the last few years was I would start, particularly when I was off the mountain, when I was down in the central California area where it gets hotter, I will just sweat buckets, like just porn star style, just freaking just going and going, like dripping on her kind of thing. And but it's all in the fun heat of the moment, so it's good. But there's plenty of times where I finish and I just roll over in borderline exhaustion. I had told my ex more than once, like, you just watch, like, I will die in bed. Like, I will have a heart attack one of these, because I'm just going to keep going stronger like this. So when I'm in my 50s or 60s, like, I'll make this prediction now. I'm probably going to end up having a heart attack in bed.
You don't think you'll be stopped?
I won't stop. No. It's like you said earlier, most of sex is a head game. It's what you got going on upstairs. And I'm just so into it that mind over matter. But eventually my body is probably going to give out. So we'll see. It's a good way to go, though. No remorse.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad way to do it, I suppose.
Yeah, traumatizing for her potentially, but
Well, it's interesting you say that, because that I have the defibrillator implanted on my chest and wired to my heart, And there's been a couple of times where my heart has gotten so out of control. What happens is my defibrillator doesn't know anything to do other than shock me.
Yeah. So you
we've
get your
seen
heart rate up
Brewski
going.
shocked before, and that's something that lays a grown bull down on the floor.
Yeah.
So
Well,
have you ever been having sex and get shocked?
exactly. And
Ooh.
what happens is that it actually, if it happens while I'm penetrated, then I actually transfer a little bit of that energy to her.
Seriously?
Oh, you shock her?
Absolutely. Just a little bit. I mean, hell, I once got shocked by Jen holding my arms, and when I got shocked, me standing up, and she felt the shock in her hands. That's just like hands on clothes.
Wow.
This is like penis and vagina, and of course,
Yeah.
boom. Yeah.
Is it a good sensation or for her? Well,
Not
I don't
for
know.
me,
Part of me,
but
I don't know.
for
Not
me-
you. I'm sure for you it's terrible. But is the transference, is that somehow good or what?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
What?
Wow. See, there's a
The
trick. I
girl
can't pull off.
enjoys the buzz that she gets off your shock.
Yes, because what happens is the shock will come out and it goes to the strongest heat source.
Wow.
Because that's what electricity does. It's
Steve,
a conduit.
I thought that was a ridiculous question. I mean, that's fascinating, Brewski.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're capable of a trick that most men are not.
Ugh, I would
That's
rather not.
interesting.
I don't even want it. It's
Yeah.
awful. It throws me back.
It
Like,
Oh
shocks me.
yeah, I remember once, and I know Steve remembers too, that when we were on the air, you got shocked, and it was, it laid you down. It wore you out like that, and like you had just been hit by a truck. And I know it looked painful, but I mean, after the shock happens, you look like you've been hit by a truck.
Well, yeah, it just takes a lot out of you. It really does. I'd rather have that than my heart being crazy. I mean,
Sure. They're
the last
dying.
time
Yeah.
the last time I got shocked, my heart was beating at 220 beats a minute.
Holy shit, dude,
Wow.
that is unbelievable.
What would happen if you achieved orgasm at the exact time that you get shocked? I mean, would that be ecstasy or torture? Would your head explode? I mean,
Maybe a little bit of both.
yeah, that's interesting. This could be a whole like porn category, shocking sex, you know?
Defibrillator porn?
Right.
No, I don't think so.
Dude, we might have women lining up for you now, you know, like,
But he doesn't want it to happen.
No,
It's
no.
not
I'm sure he
worth
doesn't
to
want it,
him.
but if you got women lining up, like, let me just bang you every day for the next year and maybe it'll happen one of these times. Like, I would
Yeah.
take that offer.
The thing that's always weirded me out about your defibrillator, you would take that offer. He's nenever been shocked, Brewski. So yeah, he would take that offer.
I'm just saying any offer that gets women lining up can't be that bad, right?
Yes, dude. He gets hit by a truck in his heart. He gets shocked.
But while you're having sex, I mean,
well, but here's the thing.
You are
Like,
really fucking horny, dude.
That's like
Something is
saying-
matter with you.
no, nothing's the matter with me. I'm in the prime of my life. It's like saying, you know, if you're gonna have if your heart's gonna get shocked while you're eating chocolate ice cream, that's just all the better, right? I'm just saying, if it's gonna happen. You might as well maximize the experience.
What's always freaked me out, Brewski, is the guess of, you know what? Here's something that really freaks me out in life that I've become kind of paranoid about. I had this thought in my head one time while I was driving, like, how come the airbag can't just like accidentally go off sometime? So it'd be like I'm driving and then just like boom, it smacks you. And I relate that to your defibrillator of like, you don't ever know when it's coming. And that is like a ticking time bomb inside your chest that gives me so much fucking anxiety, dude.
well,
Imagine if you're getting roadhead and the bag goes off, like just, I mean, everywhere. It's a stimulation. I'm
He
telling
is
you
too
guys.
horny, dude. You're relating everything to sex. You really have gone
We're
mad.
talking about sex. It's not everything to it. Not grasping
Brewski,
straws.
Do
Bruce,
you
I'm just
have
trying to improve your
anxiety
life.
about that defibrillator going off?
What's that again?
Do you have anxiety about your defibrillator? going off?
No, because I can always tell when I'm getting in a bad spot, and I look when my heart really starts to go, and if it's really elevating itself, then I just need to find a safe place to sit or lay down and just kind of prepare myself And if it comes down on its own, fine. If it doesn't, and I get shocked, at least I'm in a safe spot.
Mm.
Does it go off when your heart rate gets too high or too low, or either of those scenarios?
Both, actually. So what happens is, so my defibrillator is there because my heart stops. It will just stop for no particular, right? But what happens is when my heart gets out of control, it only knows one thing to do, and that is shock me as hard as it needs to get my heart back to regular rhythm. So it doesn't, there's no subtlety to it. It's the same shock, whether it stopped or whether it's going too fast. So
if you're at 200 beats a minute or something and it shocks you, that knocks your heart rate down in half? It like just immediately takes it down a notch?
it knocks me back into regular rhythm.
Wow.
It sort of resets the heart.
Yeah, sometimes when I go into AFib, which is this other issue I have with my heart, it just always feels like you're working out all the time and you're like sweating and that sort of thing. And when AFib doesn't go away and your heart always feels like it's going nuts.
Sure.
Right.
I sometimes have to go to the hospital, and they actually have to.
It's the medical segment. Sorry.
They basically shock my heart instead of having my defibrillator do it. They take this big patch and put it on my back and knock me out, and then they shock my heart to get it back in the regular rhythm.
Interesting.
Wow. Well, we're glad you have the defibrillator, dude.
All I'm suggesting is that you've created a new porn category here, and you may want to capitalize on it. You know, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Do you have a little chub right now, Steve? Are you horny talking about this?
Yeah. Strap on a harness. Know what I mean?
You're actually a little chubbed up right now.
So funny.
No, not really. But I'm on I'm on permanent standby mode. Basically, is what I'm saying. Like, you know, I'm ready for action anytime.
Now that you're back into the single world, how many times are you manipulating your penis per week?
Manipulating, like talking down to it and giving it self-esteem issues.
Yeah,
you will do this.
Whatever gets you off.
Here's the deal, Nick. You and I have talked before about how many times a week. What's the magic number? And 7 is not the number, but 4 or 5 probably is. And so whether it's with somebody else or myself, I think I'm like an Olympic athlete. I have to maintain my stamina so that if I get the call to go run the quarter mile or climb the mountain, then I'm ready to go. So that's I think I've maintained the average pretty well.
That's fantastic. Good for you, dude. We talked about a long time ago on the show about prostate health, and Steve's been getting prostate exams since he's been a small boy.
Oh.
And I just had a doctor's appointment last week, and I asked her, I said, hey, should I be getting my prostate exam? I'm 46 years old, have some history of prostate cancer in my family. I was like, should I be getting it? And she was like, yeah, not unless you want it. The new regulation is like 50 years old.
Hold on. For colonoscopies, they just dropped it to 45. So
this is just prostate exam, okay?
Doesn't a colonoscopy cover it all? I don't even know. I don't know the right answer to this.
Well, no,
I don't think so.
I don't think Dr. Jellyfinger does colonoscopies. I think Dr. Jellyfinger just goes in and starts rooting around a little bit and trying to make sure everything's okay.
I see. I had that done then not too long ago. She was a nice woman, so it was good.
Nice.
No,
did you buy her dinner or something afterwards? Or?
No, I just paid my copay. I had my annual physical, and that was part of it. And Nick is referencing a story when I was in high school that I got a prostate exam by the gym coach, and it was in his van. I didn't seem to think it was appropriate, but no. Growing up, my dad's a doctor, so whenever there was the annual sports physical, paperwork you had to submit to your school so you could be on the track team or basketball or whatever, my dad would just sign it. He would just check he's fine and sign it. But then there was one year where I was like maybe a junior or senior in high school, and he was out of town, and the forms were due that week for basketball tryouts. So I had to actually go to my doctor for the first time and have him do a sports physical. And I explained to him I've never had one because my dad just always signs it. And he was like, well, in that case, like, I'm the first doctor to ever really examine you. Like, I got to do the whole thing then. And yeah, he rode a rootin' around a little bit. He put on some Barry
Really?
Manilow. It was nice, but
How old were you? Like 15 or 16?
16, 17, yeah.
Way too young, dude. Way too young.
How about the
Correct,
worst?
Brewski?
It's
About
on the
the word-
form though.
But about the worst I've ever gotten was they hold your testicles and they tell you to turn and cough. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, that's all I ever had
That was for
in a
football.
physical. That's regular work right there. I mean, prostate exam at 15 or 16 is called molestation. I
I think it was just diligence, really.
Okay.
Sure.
As
That's
long
what
as
Steve's
he,
been telling himself for 30 years, dude. Just
Yeah, I was not traumatized by it, but it's haunted Nick since I've told him the story 20 years ago. So
well,
it's
as long
awful, dude.
as long as it didn't happen on a air mattress on the back of a windowless van, I think you're okay.
yeah, I mean the
Yeah,
receptionist
maybe.
did it. Was that weird? I don't know, but
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know.
No one ever gets molested in a doctor's office, dude. Hey, listen to this. The reason I bring all this up is because they have put out these new regulations, but they've also said to keep a healthy prostate, you have to ejaculate, right? That's part of keeping a healthy prostate.
Yeah.
How many times a month would you say that the health board says you should be ejaculating to keep a healthy prostate?
Oh, you know the correct answer?
Yes.
Phew. I mean, they sound like a bunch of prudes, so I'm going to assume it's like 10.
This is all medical, all right, mind you. So, I mean, prude has nothing to do with it.
Okay.
This is to keep a healthy prostate and recommendations.
I'll guess 10. I don't know. I don't.
Brewski?
I was gonna say 12 to 14.
All right. See, and that to me would seem like, I mean, that's doable, right? That's
Sure.
that's basically
an
getting
afternoon,
off
yeah.
every other day, right?
If I fall behind, I could bang that out in a weekend. Yes, for sure.
28.
Get out of
28
town.
times?
28 times. You should ejaculate 28 times a month, which, I mean, if you are doing it with a partner, I mean, to me anyway, that's unreasonable. Like, I don't want to do it
Yeah.
that many times a month.
That is a lot. 28 times.
Yeah, and that's just to keep her nice and healthy, all natural. Like, just keep your prostate healthy.
Well, you've given me a new bar to achieve here, so
But
I don't back down from a medical challenge.
So what happens in February?
Yeah, that's right. You got to
You
do it every day, huh?
dude.
Unless it's a leap year, then you can take one day off, I guess. But boy, that's interesting. 28 times. That seems a lot, even
Yeah.
for a desperate single guy. 28
Yeah.
times in a month seems pretty excessive. But
That's a lot of
that's why we
cleaning.
have.
A lot of
spike
cleaning
in
of the
prostate
pipes,
cancer.
you know? Wow.
Yeah.
And okay, now the next question is, when you are watching pornography on the internet, are you guys seeing these ads where they're selling pills for you to have a larger load?
Yes, and I know the name of the product, but I don't
What
want to
is
give them
it?
a plug. It's called Semenax.
Yes.
Why would
that's
you
what
want
it
that?
is. But that was my question, dude. It seems odd to me that I would be like, "Ugh, I'm kind of self-conscious that my load's not big enough. Like, I don't understand that.
Because-
Do you
because-
get it?
No, some people like that. I mean, I know ladies who absolutely love it. They get more turned on if it's voluminous.
Excessive
Yeah.
amount, not just a regular amount.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like to them, like they did a good job. You know what I mean?
Good boy.
Interesting.
Good boy.
Yeah. Oh
So
my
I
God.
saw an Amy Schumer stand-up bit a while back, probably a few years ago at this point.
I know this one.
Well, she was kind of making fun of her guy that, like, he gets all
no.
like, I'm gonna bang you like a porn star, and he's all machismo, and then just a little bit comes out. And I thought to myself, like, do women not understand that there's a limited reservoir, and the longer you've gone between orgasms, the more full your tank is, and the more it can come out. But if you orgasm repeatedly, even in a day or two, when you have sex, it's no indication of your excitement level or anything. There's just not as much in the tank anymore.
Yeah, I don't know that they do understand that. But maybe that's the reason behind this pill that that they're selling to make you have more all the time. But it seemed odd to me, and I don't know what like Steve said, the longer you go, the fuller your tank gets. But like, what's the average size is different for everybody, I would have to think.
I would assume. I don't even know how to gauge that though.
Well, think about filling up a NyQuil, a little medicine NyQuil thing.
shot
That you take
glass?
your NyQuil at. Do you think you could fill that up if you did
No.
not orgasm for a month?
Oh, for a month, maybe. But I think the tank hits a limit at some point too. It's not like going into your kidneys or something. No, it's just everywhere.
And does
So I don't
everyone's
know.
tank a different size?
I would think I'm generally good for a half a shot glass. We talked about, making a donation medically on the last show. And, when I had to fill up the cup a few times, like, it's a decent sized cup. I would fill the bottom, but I don't think I could fill a whole shot glass on any average.
No,
donation.
I would hope not. I mean,
Okay.
do you fill a shot glass, Brewski?
Maybe if I've been a while, I might be able to, but that's not like in one sitting. That's like a few different times. And it's
Yeah,
gonna
no,
be-
maybe one sitting.
I mean, I'm not.
Eventually, you
saying
could fill one.
You,
Yeah,
you
it's gonna-
can't work hard enough to fill a shot glass. I'm just asking, like in one sitting, can
No.
you fill a shot glass?
No, I can't. I can't.
Okay.
Right.
Let me bring up
Please.
something here that this reminds
Please.
me of. And this,
Yes.
I had echoes of this in my last relationship, so maybe I can connect those dots. But we had a friend in Seattle, Nick, another disc jockey, Schnickerdoodles, that would that told us, just leave it there, that would
Okay.
tell us, he told us a story
Yeah.
about how his girlfriend or wife or whatever it was at the time, that basically she did not want him masturbating. So if they had sex and not enough came out, that she would look at him and be like, hey, well, that's not enough. Like, have you been doing something on your own? And I remember thinking, like, dude, that is creepy crazy that your woman is monitoring how much ejaculate you have and then judging you on it and wondering if you're masturbating and all. Do you remember this story?
Oh yeah, it's borderline abusive, dude. That you're trying
Yes.
to control what I can do when we're not
Yes.
together. That's
Right?
odd. And he didn't seem bothered by it. He was like, "I'm being a good boy."
Right.
Some guys
I
like
always
that kind
thought-
of thing.
What's that?
Some guys like that when their lady keeps them in line.
I don't know about that. And it always was to me like that's a major red flag if a woman ever tries to regulate your masturbation and whatnot. But
They're still
I had
married.
I had a
there you go. Yeah.
I have a friend in Seattle who actually dated a woman who said that if he masturbated, that it was basically he was cheating on her.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
messed up.
And actually, I have some other friends who have a brother who has a wife who he was away on a work trip and he got a little excited and he looked on his phone and watched some porn and roughed up the suspect. And she found out that he had watched porn on his phone. And because he watched porn, she said that he was cheating and that he was an awful person because of how awful it is to women and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, you know what? That's just too controlling for me.
Yes. Yep.
Oh
control.
yeah, I mean that's beyond way too controlling for me. Like you
Yeah.
don't get to monitor that.
No.
So what happens outside of our home? Yes, I mean you can have the expectation that I won't be cheating with somebody, but if I'm making love to myself, like I'm in charge. I'm in charge.
I own the equipment. It's my equipment. If I want
Right.
to do something with it, I'll do something with it.
Yeah.
That's right.
In no scenario is masturbation cheating. I know that some women have objections to porn, but then so what if you masturbate without porn? Then there should be no objection whatsoever. But I will tell you, my ex early on told me something along those lines of like, I don't like porn and it's weird if you're masturbating. Like it's not cheating, but I don't like it. And it was always like, bit of a red flag. It reminded me of the Seattle DJ story.
Yes.
But I was in this conundrum of, well, she was satisfying everything. Like I didn't need to masturbate. And if I needed some relief, she was always there. So I kind of thought like, it's not an actual issue, so I'm not going to make one out of it, but it bothers me. And I remember like a year and a half, 2 years into our relationship, she brought it up one time of like, I didn't mean to say like, you can, I don't really like it and I don't want you to, but you can.
That's
was-
weird to me.
Yeah,
dude.
it was weird. It was weird. You know, but I always thought, like, if you're in a relationship where she's not giving you enough, then you certainly have no grounds to be telling me I can't go jerk off. But I was in a relationship where it's like, well, you're giving me plenty, so maybe I shouldn't make a big stink out of this. But
Yeah,
you
but
know,
sometimes
it's one
the
of many
mood,
red flags now that I look back.
sometimes
you see-
the mood strikes, and you gotta just take
Yes.
it, you gotta
Yeah.
rub one out,
And listen, there were times where I would, and I felt like I just never told her, and that seemed weird
Yeah.
too. Like, why should I not be able to tell? But it's like, I don't need to make an issue out of this, and it's none of your fucking business if I rub one out. And
So-
it all went to her past. She had some boyfriend who had a porn addiction, and he wasn't touching her because he was touching himself. All that. It's like, you know what? Enough of your bullshit.
So when they say that they don't want you watching porn, so then you say, okay, well, you know what? I'll masturbate and I'll think about your sister.
Yeah.
Is that any better? Is that
Should
better?
go over very well.
And again, this woman I'm referring to would be like, "I'll make a movie then, like do it to my movie." I'm like, "Well, again, like, boy, this is
not
hard
the
to like."
same.
It's not the same per se, but I'm like, boy, you're being so accommodating. I really do appreciate the effort you're going here, but
You're being so accommodating, but so controlling all at
Right.
the same time. Yeah.
exactly.
Not into it. And I do understand, at least in my experience, that porn in a relationship, whether enjoyed together or by yourself once in a while, can make things very exciting, I
Yes.
think,
If you
for you to come together. You know what I mean?
like all things sex, if you can be healthy and open about it, there's no reason not to.
Yeah.
But yeah, we would occasionally be going at it. And yeah, she had all these porn hang-ups. So these women are abused, blah, 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 like, but then occasionally we would be going at it and she would be like, put a porn on. I just want to watch somebody else do it too. And then as soon as we were done, she was like, turn that off, turn it off. Like some guilty teenager jerking off. And it was like, it's dirty, it's wrong, throw the Playboy out. Like,
Right.
and it was such a minefield. I never wanted to go into it. So it was like, if you want to watch them, great. If you don't, great. Like, whatever. But yeah, it's baggage. It's everyone's baggage,
For sure.
Here's a quick porn story for you.
Sure.
So I had an ex that I met in Seattle, and I went to go visit her in Paris back in
You visited her in
2000.
Paris? Wow, okay.
She left me in Seattle and went to go to school, and so I went to go visit her in Paris. And so we were
Sounds
in
like a
Pagal-
Lizzie McGuire movie, but go ahead.
So we went to Pagal, which is the red light district in Paris.
Yeah.
And she's like, I've always thought about, having sex, in one of these porn booths. So we go into the right, but we go into this porn booth, right? And it's just, this is not like this isn't like going to the Lusty Lady where like you stand in this booth and that sort of thing.
That's what I'm picturing, by the way. So I'm
Okay.
glad you told me it's not that.
Okay.
But,
so
well, describe the porn booth. I don't know what you're describing then. I haven't been to the red light district in Paris recently.
this particular porn booth, like it had different names on each door, and you could it would tell you what was going to be showing in each one of those different rooms.
Okay.
And
Okay.
Is there a couch or
there was a vinyl chair and actually had one of those tall ashtrays next to it. Like, I guess somebody's gonna sit there smoking a cigarette and watching
Sure.
it like you're watching a movie,
It's very French, yes.
and so I happened to didn't let her see the name of the door that we were going into, and it was one that said animal.
Oh boy.
Yeah, exactly. And so she kind of got a little bothered that I brought her in to see a bestiality porn.
Oh my
kind
gosh.
of got a little
Kinda.
bothered? I mean,
I'm
she
a little
was
bothered.
champion, dude. I remember the
come on,
first time I saw
okay.
bestiality, I about died. Dude.
I was gonna
Okay.
say, it makes you want to vomit. Like,
Yeah, I know, but I mean, it was right there, and I'm like, okay, this is too funny,
so did you guys bang while watching some hooker with a horse or whatever it was? I mean,
No, we didn't stay long in there, but we went into like one of the other ones where like you got to. It was just movies.
okay.
It wasn't like
Oh,
live
it wasn't
person.
live.
No. It was
I see.
just. It wasn't like going to Tijuana and seeing a donkey show.
That's
or
what I'm
anything like
picturing.
that.
Yeah.
No, nothing like that. There. No. It was movies.
It was tasteful bestiality.
Of course.
Well, yeah, of course.
Brewski's a romantic, so I would expect nothing less.
Yes.
So
Did you
okay.
ever go to the Lusty Lady, Steve?
No, I don't think I did. That's a place in Seattle for those of you out of the loop. But I don't recall going actually in it. I remember being outside it a few times because isn't it right by the Showbox or something?
It used to
Yes.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been there more than a few times. I used to go there on like the day before Christmas. They had a special Christmas sort of holiday thing where you got like specials on dances and pictures with the girls and all that sort of thing.
You used to
nice.
go for the holiday. That is so Brewski, dude.
Jingle
I mean,
balls.
every time I was at the Lusty Lady, dude, it was nothing I planned. Okay. I never said like, oh, I'll be back in about an hour. I'm going to go over to the Lusty Lady. Like
One of those nights you end up there.
Right. I was walking by and, went inside, but that place gives me the creeps. Not that it kept me from going in there, but, that you walk in and it's, if you picture the size of an arcade, like a Miss Pac-Man game, that's about like how big the booths are, right?
Yes. Yep.
And they have little 3/4 doors. So you could see people's feet in there. You could just see from their knee down to their foot. So as you're going by, they also have a light that's supposed to show if someone's in there watching videos. But sometimes if you run out of tokens, that light won't come on. So it's always a good idea to look down below and make sure there's no one in there, right? There is a janitor with a mop bucket with some harsh chemical.
And the worst job in the world. Yes.
Right. The whole time you're there, I mean, he is just like wheeling the mop bucket around and like
door to
opening
door.
doors and mopping and going in, and it just stinks in there. And yeah, I mean, you can only imagine walking into that when the mop boy hasn't been there yet.
Right. Ouch.
Yeah.
Well, how do you feel about going to like sex shops? And I don't mean lusty lady, skanky wine. I mean like I don't know, what an lover's boutique or package.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with it at all.
But do people come up to you and ask you for help? That's the part I don't like. I've got a shop here in town, and they're actually a sponsor of the station, so I'll go in. Seductions, check them out if you're in town. I like to restock supplies every new relationship. It seems dirty to carry things from one to the next. So,
Yeah.
I'm in there every few years or whatever it is.
If you put it in the dishwasher, it'll clean and sterilize it, so you're okay.
I know, and I probably should just do that. Like, yeah, baby, it's new, it's fine. It's never been in here.
You don't like the memories associated with it.
I guess, I don't know, but I every time I go in there, I'm just like, I know what I'm looking for. I know where it is. You do not need to follow me around. Come ask me for help. Any of these questions, like, just,
You want to be left alone.
yes. But they're always very nice and polite. But they always
Sure.
come, hey, you got questions about butt plugs? What what kind of handcuffs are you looking for exactly? Like I'm good. I bought them before. I'm good.
Oh, I don't have a problem. Come and talk to me. I have no problem whatsoever.
Yeah.
Why does it make you horny for them to come and talk to you about it?
No, it makes me uncomfortable.
No, I'm asking Brewski.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Oh, well, me? No, I'll just have a conversation about it. I know what I'm looking for, and if I don't see what I'm looking for, or if I'm just still kind of browsing around, I'm just kind of like, I'm kind of thinking this, I'm kind of thinking that, looking for some recommendations.
Yeah. How does this one feel when it's 6 inches in? Like,
Yeah.
am I supposed to be asking
I
these
think
questions?
that's what, I can just imagine like some creep getting off on
Yes.
talking. It's usually a younger girl that's working and asking you, and I can just see some older guy just, getting off on like, what would you suggest?
Right.
Do you like it when your partner uses this? Like,
Have you tried
see,
this product? Yeah.
I would never ask anything like that. I would keep it strictly like as business and like as you can be,
That's
but-
what nice normal people do. That's what I do. But yeah, they
Yeah.
probably get some real creeps in there
Oh,
every
I
week.
bet.
So what are the new vibrators this week, Tanya? Have you tried this product? Like,
Yeah.
Well,
Oof.
if I can bring up something that friend of the show, Doug Stanhope, once said. He
Sure.
said that he once went into a sex shop and he saw that there was a big rubber fist that they were selling,
yeah.
and he took his hand and he put it up to the rubber fist, and it was about the same size as his hand, and it made him feel pretty proud to measure it up to something in a sex shop.
Well,
All right.
yeah.
That's something, a rubber fist. I mean, people are into all kinds of kinks, dude. And that's why I think that now most of that has gone to the internet, right? You could order anything on the internet and have it
Yes.
delivered discreetly to your home.
And thank
That's
God.
no fun. That's no fun.
No.
So you do get off on that, dude, going in there, don't you?
Oh, I like just going there, and if I'm going there to buy something, I don't care. This is what I want. If somebody wants to know when I'm walking out, hey, what'd you buy in there? I bought this and I bought that, and yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah, I do try to embrace it in the fact that, like, hey, I'm getting laid. All right, that's
Yeah.
why I'm buying all this stuff, obviously. So there is some level of, pride or not as much shame or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it's always still awkward. And the
What
worst
are
part,
you-
the thing I hate about our shop in town, it is right on the main road. So every time you walk out of that place, you never know, who's driving by. Hey, Steve, leaving the sex shop over there.
But that's
Are
unusual
you
'cause-
are you a toy guy
Yeah, sure.
for just for sharing or personally?
Personally,
Like, do you
by
have
using
a
them on myself?
Do
No.
you have a fleshlight
That's what I was
or
gonna ask you,
anything
Vin.
like that?
No,
Yeah.
no. This is all for group activity stuff, for her pleasure
right.
and mine.
Oh, okay.
Mainly for hers, but I like playing. I like to be the dungeon master kind of thing,
You do?
Sure, I'm 50 Shades
Yeah.
of Harness, man. I'll dissect and enjoy every part of you.
But
Guys,
what does that mean? Do you like locking people up and smacking them with those whips and chains? And
I prefer to use
into
my
it.
hands.
Yeah, I'm into whatever you're into. Not you personally, Nick. I mean, whatever a woman wants me to do. So I've tied many a woman up before. I've got some feathers, some of those cattail whip things. I've got handcuffs. I've got every kind of insertable toy there is. I mean,
do you like them used on you?
no. I've actually never done it that way. I'm always in control. I've never submitted to a woman.
I have.
And are you into that, Brewski?
It would depend on the woman. There was one woman in particular that I submitted to years ago, and I allowed her to do things that I've never let anybody else do to me ever.
And you enjoyed
Was it
it
fun?
with her.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, one thing, a bunch of stuff was good. One thing I wasn't so into, but it was hot because she was doing it. So,
Mm.
Yeah.
yeah.
I do recall one time with an ex that I was like, "Why don't you take over control?" And 5 minutes into it, I'm like, "You suck at this. Like, give me those things back. Like, come on,
I know.
show you."
This person was a professional. Like
Oh,
I didn't
wow.
I didn't have to pay her because she was a friend of mine.
Yeah, no.
But she knew,
She knew what she was doing.
Oh my, yeah, she did. She
Interesting.
definitely did. Yeah.
Wow.
Can I tell you, Nick, real quick, one of my favorite Rachel stories?
Sure.
Nick's wife, Rachel, and you bringing up toys is what made me think of this. And don't go down any dark paths right now. Just let me tell my story.
Sure.
You guys, years ago, you came to our house in Tahoe. This would have been maybe like 10 years ago or something in that era. The kids were little. And I had two little kids. My son was probably 1, and my daughter was 4 or 5 years old. Like, they were little kids.
Yeah.
And in this house, we had 2 bathrooms. We had a bathroom in the master for the wife and I, and then we had one in the hallway that the kids used.
Yes.
And you and Rachel came, and it was like your first day there, and you guys gotten off the plane and all that. And Rachel asked if she could take a shower to get cleaned up. And I was like, yeah. I need to go get all the toys out of the shower, though. And Rachel looks at me and she's like, "Oh, wow, you guys keep toys in the shower, huh?" And I'm like, "I mean, like rubber duckies and toy boats. It's the kids' shower. It's those kind of toys." And Rachel got all red in the face.
That's really funny, dude. I don't remember that story. That's funny, dude.
It was classic. Just to look, oh, yeah, you got the toys in the shower, huh? Like,
No, yeah, in the other shower. Not
yeah.
in
No,
the-
master bathroom has got those. But
Right.
yeah, no, I meant rubber duckies and stuff. So,
Oh my
That's
gosh.
really funny, dude.
That's great.
well, this has been a fun exploratory conversation to start off the show. This is what I say. We don't write these podcasts out because clearly we couldn't write all that out, and nor would I have. But here we are.
Yeah, now we're in, dude, and we've learned a lot about each other.
Yes, we have. And so is my mom. My mom keeps listening to these fucking shows, and I told her, like, please stop. Will you please stop listening?
Hello, Mrs. Harness.
Yeah.
Hi, Mrs. Harness.
It's this mixed blessing, where I appreciate, Mom, that you want to listen to what Nick and I and Brewski are doing, but good God, stop listening. But she won't.
Yeah.
And so,
Is she just being supportive?
yes, but she's listening
Yeah.
to every freaking episode, and she's watching on YouTube, so she gets the visual of it all. And She said something to me the other day of like, first of all, I don't know why you have to swear so much. And
Yeah.
like, we don't fucking swear that much. She's like, you do it without even thinking, clearly. But then she said something like, well, I thought you were such a good kid all of these years. And now I'm learning. And I'm like, you know what? I resent that. I am a goddamn good kid. Doesn't mean I can't, experiment with sex, drugs, rock and roll and live life to the fullest. But I am a good kid, a good person, Everything I've
Yes.
described is beyond consensual. Trust me.
Yes. I prefer as it is. Well, as like you brought up earlier with my dad, like my dad checked the show out once and that was good enough for him. Like he realized it was not his cup of tea. Hey, Nick, I'm proud of you. Go do your thing. But yeah, not my cup of tea. And I would prefer it like that. I don't think my mother's listening to this program. And if she is, she would be the same. She'd be disappointed in my potty mouth.
Really?
You know what I mean?
Your mom seems so cool though, Nick.
She is. She does. My mom's not a big fan of the F word, and I think that she would be disappointed in that. And a couple of, I don't talk like that in front of my mother, just out of respect.
Of course, yeah.
I do.
You do?
I do. I swear on the phone with my mom a lot. I talk to my mom a lot. She's one of my buddies, and I do swear a lot. So I don't know why she's surprised to hear me go on the interweb and also swear just as much. And I think we've been pretty restrained, quite frankly, with our obscenity.
Yes,
so.
I would say so.
Yeah. So
yeah, I talk to my mother a lot as well. And I mean, I do. We were just having that conversation not that long ago. It's weird when you transition out of like mother-son relationship into friends, and I love this stage of our relationship that we're friends. There's not a whole bunch that I don't share with my mother. I mean, there's some things that I don't, but I mean, I share a lot of stuff with her. But yeah, I guess, I mean, I swear in front of her. I don't use the F word in front of her. So, Steve, you should take it down a notch. All right.
I guess I'm keeping it real.
Arnis.
We're all adults now, but and it's kind of like I told my children, like there are things that get discussed on this show that I certainly would not be discussing with you. And if I put the shoe on the other foot, if I think about listening to my kids do a podcast like this when I'm an older guy, I would be like your dad, Nick. Like I'd probably listen to a couple of minutes as the supportive parent and then be like, yeah, I don't need to be hearing about your sex life and all that. And I would just stop. So I'm having this conundrum with multiple women in my life that why are you listening if this is not something you want to be hearing and shouldn't be hearing? Stop it. Stop.
Yes.
Go away.
Yeah.
I appreciate my mom being supportive, but I got a whole bunch of people listening to this podcast that just stop it. You're not enjoying this. I'm not enjoying you listening. I see you on the map. Go away. Just knock it off.
Hey, dude, what about the, speaking of which, a lot of people listening to the program, what the fuck happened with that TikTok clip that you uploaded that just took off? Did you see that, Brewski?
I did. It blew up.
Yeah.
I mean, it was blowing up so fast that I was texting with Steve and I was like, holy shit, dude, 1,000 people have listened to that already. Now it's 1,030. Now it's 1,080. I mean, it was growing that fast.
It took off.
Where have we topped out? Somewhere just above 4,000, right?
Yeah.
Wow, very nice.
Listen, we've had a few social media successes of late, and we just set a new record for our page on TikTok, where one of our first videos got like 1,000 views, and that was cool. But then most of the videos since have gotten 500, 600, 700, 800 views, and they kind of hang out in that range because we have a new page and the show is new. But then, the other night I posted this Chick-fil-a story about, are you a fake liberal if you go and eat at Chick-fil-a? And the thing just fucking took off. Within a few hours, it went from a few hundred to several thousand. And now we're at, it passed 4,000 yesterday and it's still going. And again, I get in the grand scheme of the internet, that's not that many. But for us having a brand new page and brand new content, that's a TikTok record for us, going over 4,000 views. And I'll read some of the comments because we've got, social media stuff going on. And boy, some people love us and some people hate us. And it's that classic, well, why? It's the old Howard Stern thing, the people that love you listen for an hour and the people that hate you listen for 2 hours because they all just want to see what you're going to say next. And some people love being offended and annoyed by us. So
didn't we got to talk about my brother making the comment he made because, first of all, Duba. It was an odd comment, but
It wasn't an odd comment. I will defend this. And by the way, let me just point out real quick, we have had two videos that blew up on their respective sites. One on Facebook is almost at 9,000 views now, and that's the story about me getting the vasectomy.
Yeah.
And then this TikTok video about Chick-fil-A is, over 4,000, and who knows where that's going to stop at. But there's a recurring theme in each of those clips. Do you guys know what it is?
No.
Oh, the humanity.
Oh.
My ex is at the center of both of those stories. They're both stories about she and I, and they both reference her directly or indirectly.
That's interesting. Yes,
they have both blown up.
certainly do.
So I find that humorous, but I don't know if there's something to take away from that, if I should just keep telling more stories. Maybe it's all her friends that are all pissed off at me. They're the ones watching it 8,000 times. So.
Yeah, because we know she doesn't have that many friends, right? I mean, she doesn't have like a stadium of friends that are listening, right?
Clearly not. So, so let's get into some of these comments. So, it's the vocal minority. This is where you, the individual, gets a chance to be part of the show and chime in. And, we've realized the comment section is really the new modern vocal minority out there because people get to spout off and they feel protected and anonymous. And so, this Chick-fil-A video, your brother was the first to comment. And I got to tell you, when he first commented, I kind of thought, did I cross the line? Should I be taking that video down or something? And then it started blowing up. So I was like, fuck it. If I crossed the line, who cares? It's apparently working.
All right. So
let me explain what I said. Yes? Or what do you want to do?
Oh, I was just going to say, what's the clip? So, explain what you said.
So we were talking about Chick-fil-A, and apparently a lot of people have strong opinions about Chick-fil-A on the internet.
Yeah.
But we were saying the good liberals, don't go eat there. And I told the story about how my ex, that we all knew we don't go eat at Chick-fil-A, but I caught her sneaking Chick-fil-A, even though she's this supposed proud liberal and all that.
Right.
But then at the end of the clip, or near the end of the clip, Brewski starts to say that basically, a lot of people say Chick-fil-A is really good. So some people might get curious. And, you hear so many good reviews about something, maybe you want to go try it yourself. So I made the point that I could tell you a bunch of men that are into sodomy and giving blowjobs, and they'll rave about it. And that doesn't mean that everyone is going to be in that same cup of tea. Doesn't mean that everyone should be going out and blowing a guy on Friday night. Just because one group says it's a great thing does not necessarily mean it's for everyone or that you have to go try it.
Sure.
That was my point.
Sure. I get it.
And first of all, I think that making comments like that actually mainstreams them to talk about guys blowing guys. It's not a kooky, I wasn't demonizing it. I wasn't making fun of it. I was just simply making an analogy that there's a bunch of gay men that will stand by blowing people, and there's nothing wrong with that, but doesn't mean it's for everyone. That was my entire point of that analogy. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense. I think read my brother's comment.
All right, so your brother commented that on the Chick-fil-A video, he says, no one needs that food, but why did you go with the homophobe analogy at the end after saying, out of respect for every gay person on the planet, you won't eat a Chick-fil-A, but then you make a homophobic analogy, like comparing it to guys blowing guys.
So this is what I've thought, because I've thought about it, because I was a little irritated. Obviously, I know you're not homophobic by any stretch of the imagination. So,
which is another question. Am I capable of saying something homophobic?
Sure. I think we all are, right?
You're not, but something is only homophobic if you mean it to be that way. I am not homophobic. I've been defending gay rights on the radio for 20-something years. My firstborn's gay. My aunt is gay. I am not homophobic.
I know.
So I would argue that I could not say something homophobic.
I disagree. I mean, I'm not racist. There's definitely things that I could say that I'm not aware of that are racist. I'm not racist.
You wouldn't.
You know what I mean?
I'm saying I could say homophobic words. All gay people should be hung in the town square. Okay, that would be a homophobic thing to say. Just the words are, but I would obviously never say that. So if I'm talking about gay people, why is it homophobic? I'm not homophobic. So I would argue I'm actually mainstreaming the conversation, but I don't know.
Yes, I get what you're saying. I agree with you. I agree that you were not being homophobic. I think where the confusion comes in on somebody who may not know you, like my brother. I mean, he knows you, but doesn't know you.
Yeah.
to start off by saying, like, what's the line you said before? Like, I'm protecting, I've been protecting gay people's rights for a long time.
Yes,
And then
way before it was popular. We actually had a program director ask me once, why do you keep defending gay marriage? What do you care? And I'm like, I do care, so I'm going to keep doing it. I don't care if it's irritating you or sponsors. So
yes, and I agree. So, and then I think the only interesting thing is that I'm trying to come at it from my brother's point of view, and I have not talked to him about it, which I will. But when you make the assertion that, hey, there's all kinds of guys that love blowjobs, that mean you like blowjobs, Brewski, and then then Brewski laughs about it, that it could be taken as like a demeaning thing. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
But that's a problem on that person, not on the on
100%.
Steve.
exactly.
I agree 100%. I'm just, like I said, I'm trying to see where his mind is entering the conversation.
And I agree. Like, he thinks talking about guys blowing guys is just a homophobic whatever thing. And I'm like,
Yes.
no, I don't think it's gross or anything. Like, it's
Right.
fine. That's why
Yes.
I'm using it freely as an analogy.
And I think that's right, Steve. I think that's exactly right. These are the conversations that we should be mainstreaming when a marginalized community on some level wants to be represented in art, in media, in conversations, in politics, and feels like they have not been for a long amount of time. And I think it's important that we do start bringing them into the mainstream of conversation without like, ooh, why are you talking about that? That's wrong.
Right.
No, it's not wrong unless you're thinking it's wrong.
Right.
Or if you have something in the back of your mind. These are the biases that we think of when it comes to race, right? Like, a lot of people will be, myself included, have these thoughts that are implanted in my mind that I've been raised with a certain way to think that we're all trying to change right now, right? I'm not a racist person, but I can definitely make a move that is not sensitive to race at some point in time, not knowing that I'm doing it.
Yeah, but I would argue that's not racist then, because your intentions are what makes something racist or homophobic. Or whatever.
Exactly.
It might be insensitive, but it's not racist. You're not racist, so how could it be?
Well, I agree in the sense that I do feel that way. However, I don't think that the people that would take that conversation as racist feel that way.
Yeah.
It's like when you get in a conversation or an argument with your girlfriend or your wife and you say like, gosh, I didn't mean to. My intention was to do something nice for you.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. This is what you did. Right. I know there was good intention behind it. And that's why I think that, it's so wonderful when we can have conversations with people that understand intent and understand, oh, you know what? I know you come with a good heart. So I'm not going to look at that and just snap on it. I'm going to educate you and say, that can come off as a little racist. It's just open for conversation that way. And we're all learning right now. I understand what you're saying, but I think you can be racist without knowing it. What makes you can say something racist without knowing it. It doesn't make you a racist if you're willing to work and say, oh, I would never say that again. I didn't know that's how it affected you.
Yeah, that's fair. And listen, I probably have to be more mindful of the fact that not everyone in this audience knows me that well. So I guess somebody could hear me make that comment and think, boy, you're coming from a homophobic place. So, I guess I should be more mindful of that end of it. But that's also part of what the show is getting to know all of us and whatnot. So if you think I'm homophobic, then keep listening and you're going to eventually realize that that's the furthest thing from the truth. And yeah, I'm not trying to hurt feelings, but we're also doing the kind of show where I'm not going to tiptoe around everyone's feelings, okay?
Exactly.
I made an emphatic statement that was an analogy I can still stand by, and, if it pissed you off, then, I'm sorry. Certainly if my gay child heard it and they were offended by it, I would have a conversation to explain all of this, but I don't think they would be. They may say, like, gee, Dad, like, some homophobic idiots might glom on to what you just said there, but... so maybe, be more mindful or sensitive or whatever it might be. But Yeah, I don't think my kid's gonna all of a sudden think I'm homophobic from those comments. So
No, and I don't think so either. I don't think there's anything wrong with what you said. Like I said, I think it's important to bring conversation that you hear, and maybe it sounds shocking to you because people don't usually talk about it, but it should be in the mainstream.
yeah,
We should be able to talk about everyone and who they love and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah.
I don't think he did anything wrong, dude.
It's the
I
old
don't think-
Seinfeld thing where they're like, I don't think we're supposed to be talking about this when they're talking about race or
Yeah.
gay people. But I kind of push back on that. I think we should be talking about it. And the
now
more
more
you-
than ever.
Yes, the more you mainstream this stuff, the more destigmatized it gets. It's the Will and Grace effect. That was the first sitcom about gay people. And the biggest thing that did for society was just start to normalize gay people being gay, having talks about being gay, making jokes about being gay. Like, that's a
Yes.
good thing. You mainstream it, you normalize things. So,
Yes, no, I would agree. That's one of the great things about this program, dude. It gives you a chance to get vocal. We can have these conversations, and you obviously don't need to agree with everything we say or anything that we say,
right.
but we could have the conversation of, you may be wrong. I might be wrong. We'll have the conversation. Get
Yeah.
vocal, please.
I could have made the analogy that some people love sushi and others don't. I decided to go with gay sex, and I just thought that was the correct analogy to go with at the time. So
We are vocal minority.
I'm sticking with it. All right, so let's do some more comments from the vocal minority on this Chick-fil-A video. And I'll tell you, this next comment, this one's a tough one for me. So this person commented, how many of you eat at Wendy's? They do the same thing as Chick-fil-A. Wendy's is one of my favorite fast food places. So this has been brought up to me before by my child.
It has. I'm unfamiliar with this.
But that is my point right there, that Chick-fil-A has been very outgoing about this. They have funded a lot of public things. They've been verbose, and they've publicly stated that this is our beliefs and we're doing it.
They're vocal.
It is my understanding that some CEO or whatever of Wendy's has made, and I've done some research on this, like he has donated privately to some groups that are homophobic or right-wing groups and whatnot, but I don't see him being super verbal about it and getting out there in public. Like, some people have discovered this, but his comments have been like, yeah, that's my private business, and yeah, I run Wendy's, but the two shouldn't be connected. Whereas Chick-fil-A has kind of gone out of their way to connect the dots. And I've been addicted to Wendy's since I was a little child, and I can't stop. So there's that too. But Chick-fil-A, like I said last show, like, it's new to my area, and I was well aware of their bullshit. So no, I'm just not going anywhere near it. But the Wendy's thing, you can do this. There's some Disney Marvel exec that was tied to some group. I'm not going to stop watching Marvel movies. Now, if they start just being overly outspoken about it or slipping anti-gay propaganda into Marvel movies, then I'm going to have to draw a line. But I don't feel that Wendy's has gone as far as Chick-fil-A.
Listen, here's the difference in my mind is that Chick-fil-A has been outspoken about this. That if you walk into a Chick-fil-A, what they stand for, they're very much like Hobby Lobby. You know what they stand for if you're going to walk in their doors. I'm not a fool. When I walk into a place that I like to eat, if I walk into McDonald's, I know that there's somebody working behind the counter who is either racist or homophobic or has beliefs that I do not agree with. You can't do it that way. If it's a company saying, this is what we stand for, this is what we believe in, come and have a meal with us, then I'm going to say, fuck you if I don't.
Yes.
Something like Wendy's, that CEO, on his private time, I mean, I don't know what you're doing. But as a company, well, I will keep going there if that's, you're not supporting. It's just a private guy. We wouldn't be able to eat anywhere.
Exactly. And, Wendy's is open on Sundays. Chick-fil-A is not, for religious reasons. Like, they make it part of their whole company structure. So if you're going to be that overt about it, I'm allowed to say, yeah, fuck you. I don't want to eat there.
And Wendy's does a lot of great things for adoption, for children being adopted.
Well, I was not aware of that, but there you go.
Well, and going back to 2012, Wendy's actually does actually stand with the gay community and has. There's a whole bunch of articles. If you just Google Wendy's anti-gay, you'll see there's a ton of articles in response to this. Whoever the CEO person was or is, I should say, they have actually reached out, and actually the guy that owns the most Wendy's franchises across the country, he owns like 86 of them. He actually has, since 2012, even before just about that, put up signs saying we respect every patron, we support everybody to come in and a welcoming environment.
Yeah, there you go. I have yet to hear that from any faction of the Chick-fil-A company, so that's why.
Correct.
Uh,
And you know what? There is a Home Depot guy. Home Depot as a company donated a lot of money to the Trump campaign.
Yeah.
And I stopped shopping there. I started shopping at Lowe's, and there was a comment made on this whole thread of like, I don't care what their beliefs are. I just fucking eat there. I just go there. Well, that's where we differ, dude. I'm not going to support a company and give them my money if I think that they're hurting communities. I won't do it. So,
and by the way,
do what you want.
I was going to say, do what you want. This is America. I can protest in my ways, and you can do yours. And if you want to eat there, that's fine. But then don't tell me I can't. If you're consciously saying I'm going to eat there despite their views, then you can't admonish me for not eating there because of their views, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, as a screaming liberal myself and a New England Patriots fan, it made things even more fun to see Arthur Blank, the CEO of Home Depot, on the field thinking that his team was about to win the Super Bowl, and my New England Patriots came back from 25 points down and just ran that touchdown in right in front of him, and just see the heartbreak on his face.
Yes.
Oh my God, it was awesome.
Had to feel freaking fantastic, dude.
Orgasmic. Oh,
yeah,
it was amazing.
He got put in his place by a bunch of sweaty, muscular men. There must have been some irony there.
Yeah.
Next comment: Chick-fil-A is overrated, but it. So analyze that for what it's worth.
I would agree with that, dude. BT dubs. I've had Chick-fil-A before I knew about all this stuff.
Yeah, it's just
it's aight.
It's aight.
All right. Well, Brewski, you said it was overrated too. So
yes.
Yeah. Let's see. To be fair, I don't like Chick-fil-A because I've never had a good experience with them, so I don't eat there. I'd rather eat at Wendy's. Okay.
Good for you. Me too.
They're basing it on customer service. That's fine.
Yeah. They have really good chicken nuggets, Wendy's. They really do.
They really do. And their French fries, those new ones they've done now with the sea salt on them. Oof.
I like those too, Stephen. And I also, by the way, like their hamburgers the best out of the major fast food restaurants.
Yes, their hamburgers are awesome.
Yes.
And again, this crazy person I've been with, they're Californians, and everyone in California loves In-N-Out Burger. It's a big California thing, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
And she made me sit in line one night for like an hour to get a fucking In-N-Out Burger. And I'm eating this thing, and I'm like, listen, it's not terrible, but Wendy's is 10 times better than this. This is not some orgasmic hamburger. I don't know why it has that reputation.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of people feel that way about a Seattle company, Dick's.
Ooh, I love it. Yeah.
I love Dick's restaurant, dude, and I would stand in line for that burger any day of the week.
Dick's is great, and that is one of those, like, you eat it, you're like, oh, now I see why everyone's standing in line for a big old bag of Dick's, because it feels good in my mouth. And
yeah.
Oh, don't quote me out of context there, anybody. I'm sorry.
Was that homophobic, Steve?
Was that? I don't think so. I was raving about dicks in my mouth being a good thing. So
yeah, no, I agree.
Again, mainstreaming.
You get that special sauce and Dick's,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It feels good sliding down my throat. I'll take those dicks all night long.
Salty goodness.
Next comment: the party of accepting everyone and loving everyone. You guys sure do hate a lot of people. That's funny. So he's saying the liberals, Democrats, are supposed to be the party of accepting everyone, and here we are ripping on Chick-fil-A. But we're not blind just because we have blue, lenses on.
And BT dubs, we're talking. You're talking about restaurants, dude. I'm talking about accepting people.
Right.
And I do have I'll be honest with you, dude. I have a really hard time accepting hateful people.
Yep.
And
I was going to say the hate didn't start with us. They hated on a group, and we said fuck you because of it. We didn't start this little battle. And I would argue the most conservatives start the battle by hating on the group first.
Right. And they don't like it when you fight back.
No, exactly.
But bullies never like it when you punch back. They don't like it.
Yeah,
and that's a good point, Brewski, is that, you know what? I have an issue with people who punch down. On any community, if you're going to punch down, those are the people that I will stand up for.
Yes. Chick-fil-A will be fine without my $5. And,
Yeah.
Exactly.
yeah, and we didn't start it. So, and there's a difference. I hate conservatives that are all about America and our rights and all that. But then as soon as I use my First Amendment right, you're all, hey, shut the fuck up, you you snowflake.
Love it or leave it.
Right. So, is it America or is it not? I just said that I had blue-colored lenses on, which I've never used that term in my life. That just sort of came to me. This next comment, I've never heard this one either. The blue flu is real. That's the real pandemic. How sad, you people. The blue flu. I kind of like that.
Dude.
Hey.
I got a terminal
love the
case of the
blue
blue flu. So,
It's the only flu I will not be vaccinated for.
yes, and again, like any of the, okay, so I would love to read the 10 comments that idiot made on his last post, because I'm sure he's nothing but hating on people and discriminatory. But as soon as I discriminate against a mega, restaurant franchise, now I've got the blue flu. But I've never heard that term before, so I kind of like it.
I like
That's
it.
funny.
Let's see. Next comment. Chick-fil-A is great. I support them 100%. That's fine. They don't need your 1%. Fucking hilarious. I don't. Is that anti-liberal? Are we 1%ers?
No, I think they mean the amount of money that you might spend.
Yeah.
With them.
And that, yeah, like I just said, they don't need my $5, so I'm sure.
Yeah,
they'll be
they
fine.
don't need it. And yeah, I mean, it's fucking hilarious. Listen, I guarantee you that there's a lot more than 1% of people who aren't eating at Chick-fil-A because they bash gay people constantly.
Yes. And by the way, I know number crunchers. Chick-fil-A does want my 1%.
Yeah,
They want every
everybody's
percentage
percent.
point. Yes, they want every percentage point they can get. But this, again, when you run a business and you get outspoken, this is what happens. I think I've told you guys before, like when I used to do this lefty liberal morning show on our local radio stations, and then I got promoted to general manager. And I had to stop because I couldn't let my politics fuck the company over. I didn't want to associate my politics and have some client cancel on us because I have employees to pay and electric bills to pay.
Yeah.
So I, as a business owner, said I'm going to step away from politics because I don't want it to divide the customer base. Chick-fil-A has leaned into it. So that's your own damn fault if people like us don't want to eat there.
They made
100%.
the decision to do that.
Yeah, exactly. And they could take it back anytime, but they're not. Somebody asked how tall we are. Is that some sort of, they think we're little man complex or something? How tall are you guys? Or is it a
Maybe
typo?
it's
I
just
don't-
because we look so sexy on the screen. They're curious. I'm 5'10" and a half. Brewski, what are you working with?
6'7" and 5/8.
Wow.
No, not your penis, dude. How
Oh,
tall
oh,
are
oh.
you?
About 6 feet tall.
Are you? Nice. I'm 6'2", so we're all tall. It's not a little man syndrome. It's the blue flu again. Y'all crazy. Chick-fil-A is amazing in both food and service. Well, good. I'm glad to see the president of Chick-fil-A is listening to us.
Yeah, and isn't that hysterical? And service. Like, you don't think that it wavers from location to location? Like, why are you standing so hard on the hill for Chick-fil-A? And their service is excellent.
Right. Of course. Here's someone that says, and that's how they spelled it out. Freedom as a business owner?
Yeah, freedom as a customer.
Yeah, exactly. And like I just said, you do have that freedom as a business owner, and you have the freedom to pay the consequences if you're going to be outspoken on a stand. So you got to weigh that.
Not trying to get you guys shut down. I'm just not supporting you.
Yes, exactly. I mean, we've got several people here. Love your comments. Totally agree. Like, I just find the haters to be more fun to read. So,
Yeah.
another person raving about their service. I don't know. Do they smack people with a Bible if they're not good customer service?
That's hysterical, dude. I mean, yeah, I don't remember the service when I did go there. I don't remember the service to be good or bad.
Yeah. Here's somebody. It's entertaining when blithering idiots offer their biased political commentary as if it's a fact. First of all, I don't offer any of my commentary as a fact, but that's what commentary is. It's my opinion, just like you're putting your opinion with your comment here. So should I say the same thing back to you? This blithering idiot with his opinion?
And I'm not doubting that I'm a blithering idiot. At times, I'm a blithering idiot, dude. I don't know who you are, but.
Right. Here's a good one. This guy is clearly conservative. He says, the line outside tells you all you need to know. Have you ever looked at the line outside of a COVID vaccine clinic? They got a pretty long line too. They're conservative, so maybe you should go get yours.
Yeah, all the line outside tells me is their service is not that great and not that fast. So,
Well,
Exactly.
I also see a nice big line outside a lot of weed dispensaries too.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So here's another one. You guys nailed it. Here's one. And people keep asking what woke is. I am sick of the term woke becoming somehow demonized. Like I'm looking out for oppressed people. I think people should be treated fairly, and that's somehow a bad thing. I'm all woke.
You're so woke, Harness.
You're educated. They don't like that.
No, they don't. And I'll just read one last final one because I found this one funny. I love Chick-fil-A because their food and service is great. I also support them for taking a stand for Christ and for closing on Sunday. You can continue supporting the satanic movement, and I'll continue supporting Christianity.
Wow.
Wow. Are we supporting Satan by not eating a Chick-fil-A? I didn't realize
Well,
that.
there's that
The
loving
threshold.
Christianity, though, right? I mean,
Right.
come on, guys.
Exactly.
I would suggest to that person, come down off the cross. We need the wood.
Yeah, we do. Well, lumber's at a premium, but my
Yeah.
gosh, are you kidding me that I'll continue supporting Christ? Like, shut up. Have you ever heard about doing it quietly? I mean, every time I will say this as a Catholic, one of my favorite masses is done on Ash Wednesday. And the whole mass is about praying silently, praying quietly, doing good things and not telling people about them. Just being a fucking good person and not looking for people to pat you on the back for it.
Right.
So you wanting to be so loud as this Christian, the Christian right is so fucked up right now that they are ruining our country. To be honest with you, these evangelicals are so fucking crazy. And the people that they've got on their train right now are like, yeah, the Bible. And then I guarantee you that I see you doing things outside of this small moment in time where you're preaching that you're a fucking shitbag, whether it's, talking poorly about gay people or trans people. I mean, how many people from this evangelical community right now is literally murdering people in the trans community? It's unbelievable how hypocritical you guys are and how you use this token as here's my token. I'm a good person. You're a fucking shitbag.
Preach on, Brother Nick. Hypocrisy is the foundation of religion, and people that like to pick and choose. What does God say about worshiping the almighty dollar or false idols and, treating immigrants poorly and treating poor people poorly? I mean,
Love thy neighbor.
yes, exactly. So, no, I know so many religious people that just like to handpick what they want to, choose out of there. And they hate it when you point out that, if you work on Sunday or whatever, you're supposed to go stone your neighbor to death. It's like,
ugh, it's so frustrating, dude, that you just do not understand that the whole idea behind religion as it started was to not say like, I'm doing this. Look at me. I'm a good person. Like that's not how it's supposed to work. And people think because, I go to church every Sunday that you can't be a shitbag. People that are working at churches molest children and do all kinds of terrible shit. Just live your life in a fucking good way and stop showing a Bible. I mean, that was so perfect when Donald Trump got that photo up, made his way through all those people to hold a Bible up to show everyone like we're good. We're the good people. We're the good people.
and he held it upside down, just as
Held it upside down. Fucking
added dose of irony.
gosh.
Is it different? Go ahead.
By the way, so he lived, it still kind of does, at Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue, New York City. Okay. He grew up, he says, Presbyterian. He lives about a 5, maybe 8-minute walk from the largest Presbyterian church in New York City. He also lives even closer, 3-minute walk to St. Patrick's Cathedral, the largest Catholic church in all of New York City. And I can guarantee you he's never stepped foot in either one of them.
Right.
And the folks over at St. Patrick's would welcome you to come in, light a candle and say a prayer. You don't have to be Catholic or anything like that, but he's never been in either one of those churches, and he lives right
Of
effing there.
course. Are you saying he's being a hypocrite or doing it just for show? I can't imagine a religious person doing that.
Yeah.
There was a great interview back when he ran the first time where some interviewer asked him, "What's your favorite book?" He's like, "The Bible." And they're like, "Oh, what's your favorite verse?" "Well, there's just,
I keep
so
that
mad.
private. I like to keep that private.
he couldn't name a verse with a gun to his head, please.
And the interviewer, that was a funny interview, dude, because the guy kept pressing him, like, do you like, who's your favorite person in the Bible? And he was like, yeah, it's just, I keep that
Santa
private.
Claus. I like
That's
the reindeer.
only thing in your life you choose to keep private is that.
Right. Yeah, he talks endlessly about everything he knows nothing about, but that was the one thing where he's like, yeah, I don't have an answer, so shut the fuck up. I think it's just religious people are so used to being judged by their God or whatever, so I guess they just have to judge everyone else. They can't just be complacent and happy being themselves.
Have you ever watched a TV program on national Nat Geo, and it's called I think it's called To Catch a Smuggler?
Yes.
No.
Okay, so it is just all about the people, whether they're on the border or they're at the airlines and they're trying to catch drugs coming into the country. I was watching last week, and there was they were at the border, I think in Texas, at the border, people coming in, and this guy rolls up, and he's got all this religious stuff on his car, religious stickers, and he's got a patron saint in the big sticker on the back of his window.
Yeah.
And the border patrol agent is, talking to the camera, and he was like, anytime we get all this religious garb on a car, 9 times out of 10, it's filled with drugs.
Yep.
And sure as shit, dude, they go over and it was just loaded with cocaine. And I'm like, yeah, that's how people use it
Because
sure.
they're massive hypocrites, or because they're trying to do a smoke screen? Like, I'm so God-fearing, I couldn't possibly be here breaking the law.
Probably a little of both, right? I mean,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Yeah,
Well,
that's funny. I'll check that out. Yeah, Bruce.
I knew some folks in Seattle who their coke dealer was actually a senior citizen. He was like 77 years old and drove a big old Buick, and he was a big coke dealer in Seattle. And like, he's walking by cops, driving by cops all day long. This man lived on the hill, and you would never suspect that this guy walking by you, some senior citizen out for his morning walk, and he's out because she's dropping off bags of coke all around.
It's
Yeah.
insane what these people try and do on this program, dude. They'll put it in their baby's diaper. I mean, the most inconspicuous place that, they would never think, like, this old lady in a wheelchair has a bunch of coke under her ass, they really go through it. But the babies are the funniest to me, and that I suppose it shouldn't be funny, but they like pack their diapers with heroin and think, they won't check this.
How many babies do you have to smuggle through the border to get enough heroin to make that math work out? I mean,
Yeah, I'm not sure, dude.
seems ineffective to me, but
It does.
a couple other social media notes. I just want to point a couple things out here. So we were talking about we broke a TikTok record. Facebook video is going to hit 9,000 soon, one of those. But the Facebook analytics for our last 30 days, we have hit 18,000 people through Facebook with a total of 9,000 engagements. So
What does that mean?
That's a good conversion rate.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, 18,000 exposed, that means they saw it on their feed and spent some amount of time, like, they paused, and maybe they didn't really engage with it. So that means, though, that about 50% of the people that saw the video then engaged with it. They either watched it or commented or clicked on it or something. So,
Well, that's cool.
so that's a pretty good engagement rate.
I would say so.
And yeah, the YouTube page, I got to pull the most recent analytics, but we were over 14,000 or something exposure for the last 30 days, too. So, like we said, people, if you see the stuff on social media, do us all a favor and help share it and spread the good word so we can keep making more of it.
Yeah.
And by the way, I don't know what's going on Instagram. I cannot get any fucking traction on that page. I'm going to call it Insta Brewski because Brewski is the only one that comments, likes, does anything on there. I feel like I'm just posting on Instagram so Brewski can see what we're posting, basically. I can't
use
crack
Instagram,
that.
don't you, Brewski?
I do, yes, about a little bit. I mean, sometimes when you're up at night, because if you notice, most of my engagement is at like 3 or 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
Which is usually when I get home from work, and you're laying in bed, you're not ready to go to sleep yet, and you're just kind of scrolling through and a little
Maybe
bit.
Brewski should take over the Instagram page. I mean, are we missing something?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Because there's just no traction going on there. So I don't know. And there's something weird going on Twitter too. I'm having trouble getting a lot of traction on Twitter, but the very few people that are following us, like 75 people right now, they are engaged and they are sharing stuff and whatnot. And like we have a couple of videos where we have a few hundred views on them. There's only 75 people following us, but somehow 300 people have watched a video, which means those people are either sharing it or showing other people, or because they watched it, it shows them on someone else's feed, or some of the tags are showing up on other feeds that aren't being followed. But
you know, I created a Twitter account called Brewski VM.
Nice.
And so I'm on Twitter, and I'm trying to promote the show as much as I can. And
well,
you should retweet those videos, Brewski. Can you retweet stuff for the VM?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. I've been thinking, I don't know if this is a good idea or a terrible idea, but we have pissed some people off out there with comments I've made. Blech. I'm thinking about just pulling all of those clips very specifically and just posting them on all of our social media and being like, hey, this person I know really doesn't want you to comment or share about this video, so don't share it by any means. You're going to piss off my ex-girlfriend or my mother or my neighbor. Or, like, do I lean into it? That's my question.
Do you think people will get on the train to be vindictive?
I see it with Trump all the time, where they have that picture of him with his hair blowing everywhere, and it's like, Donald Trump does not want you to share this photo, and so everyone shares it, of course.
Right.
Kind of wondering if I should just lean into some of these people out there that are pissed off at us. Like, you know what?
Just try it with one clip.
Okay. Challenge accepted. Let's see what happens. I've been saying this to people off air. Like, some of these people in my life that are putting a spotlight on things we're doing on the show, you're really just poking the bear. Because if I didn't understand that it bothered you, I would never talk about it again and I'd move on. But as soon as you tell me, hey, don't talk about that one thing, I just want to talk about it over and over.
All you want to do. And Steve's really that way, more than the average person. If you tell Steve he can't do something, he really wants to do it.
Yeah.
It makes it more fun.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's that old Stern thing where they said, don't say pussy or cock on the radio. So he goes on and he finds a way to say pussy willow and cock-a-doodle-doo. And, like, don't tell me not to say something. You just make me want to say it.
I will find a way.
Yeah. And I don't know if some of these morons out there watching understand. I'm only talking about it because I know you're watching and listening. So if you stop doing that, I would stop doing it. It's the irony circle going around and around. So yeah, I may have to pull some of those clips. And speaking of, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I would say Instagram. Brewski sent me a live performance of Slaughter. Did you film that, or did you just find that somewhere? Because it's in Vegas, where I know you hang out a lot.
Yeah, no, it was posted because that was a performance on Fremont Street, and I follow a lot of the casinos downtown, and I follow the Fremont Street Twitter account and Instagram account, and they're the ones that posted it, and I shared it with you.
Poor Slaughter. Because the Fremont Street, the time I was there, it was mainly like local cover bands and whatnot that were playing on Fremont. This is where Slaughter's at now. They're setting up, on the side.
No, there are a lot of bands actually because they get paid by the casinos there to actually play. So it's not. I mean, it's a free show.
They weren't begging for change.
No. Okay. Because all those casinos down there, especially the D, which is on one end of Fremont Street, and then the other stage is up by Circa, and right next to Binion's. All those casinos, they're the ones that throw all that money in to bring those acts in.
Because Slaughter's bringing the crowds to Vegas. Huh?
Did you see how many people were out there?
Yeah.
A lot of people.
But like I said, though, when I was there were people gathered around the homeless guy playing guitar, too.
Yeah, people always gather around music or entertainment.
Slaughter's not aging well.
I'm not for Slaughter. Are you a big fan, Brewski?
Yeah, I'm a big Slaughter fan, yeah.
Well, Slaughter holds a special place in my heart, Nick. You know this, right?
No, I don't think so. Oh, yes, I guess I do. Didn't you play with the drummer or the bassist?
The bassist.
Slaughter?
No, the whole band. Come on.
You did?
Yes, yes, yes. So every rock band that never went anywhere always has the story about the one time I opened for Nirvana or whatever it was.
Yeah.
We got a chance to one time. We opened up for Slaughter and for, I always say it was Motley Crue, but it was Vince Neil solo in the 90s when he went solo. So
Yeah.
we got to play at a sold out club in Toledo, Ohio, and we opened up for Slaughter and for Vince Neil solo. So I always hold those bands in high regard. But I have to say, speaking of the bass player from Slaughter, he's an asshole.
Oh, Dana.
Oh, that's right. That's why I focused in on the bass player. He was a dick.
Dana Strum, and I don't know if Strum is a made up name for a bass player.
Of course it is.
Actually, his actual last name, I believe, is Strumwasser.
Ah, I see. And bass players don't actually strum. Guitars do that, but whatever. That night he was he was a power tripping egomaniac at that place. And they actually tried to get us thrown out of there because we were working with a booking agency that was trying to impress us as a young up and coming band, and they were booking Slaughter and Vince Neil. So they just basically had to show up to this gig, and they were like, "Hey, this band's opening for you," and Slaughter freaked out about it. And Dana Strum in particular was a real dick. They gave us 2 channels on the audio mixing board. That's all. So they were like, "You guys,
hoping you would fail and they would be great."
Yeah, so we had our singer on one of the channels and the bass drum was on the other, and the rest of us just cranked up our guitar amps and the bass amp, and the drummer played loud anyways, and we filled this whole, it's probably a 1,500 seater kind of a little venue. And we fucking rocked it, and the crowd was loving it, and I'm sure the other bands on the way down in their careers were not, a big fan of that. But Dana Strum, I remember we were doing sound check. His band was doing sound check, and he was just going off on his bass tech. Whoever's in the band, there's always somebody that works directly for you, a drum tech, a bass tech, and they do your sound check and whatnot. And Dana Strum was just sitting there berating his bass tech of like, I want quarter notes at 108 beats per minute. Does that sound like 108 beats a minute to you? Fucking A. He was just going off on the guy. Total dickhead. And the funny thing is, years later, this was maybe just a few years ago, when we opened for them, this must have been like 96 or something. So somewhere around 2016, Slaughter came to my town now of Lake Tahoe, and they played at the Hard Rock. And the Hard Rock called us and said, "Do you want to interview Dana Strum from Slaughter?" I was like, hell yeah, I do.
Oh, wow.
No. So I got him on, and I did this friendly interview of just, "Hey, I'm the DJ, and you guys are playing in town," and all this stuff, and we're talking, and he's kissing my ass because they need the promotion, and they love to be interviewed in this day and age. Are you kidding me? So we get near the end of the interview, and I'm like, hey, funny story, Dana. My band opened up for your band years ago in a little club in Ohio. And that's what I heard, just silence. And I'm like, I remember, man, like you were pretty funny that night. You were giving your bass tech a real hard time, and he got so uncomfortable. He started tripping on his words, fumble. He knew exactly, because I'm sure he's a dick to his bass tech in every town, right?
Sure.
So he knew exactly what I was referencing, and he got very uncomfortable, and I found it so funny. And I just wrapped up the interview and let it go. But
it would have been so much more endearing if he would have said, "You know what? Back in the early days, I was a dick." It would have been so much more endearing and a good interview on his part, but you made him look like an idiot, and that's fantastic. What a dick.
Yeah, no, it's really true.
We know people like that in radio, dude, that we worked with before that just have this legend in their own mind type status of talking down to engineers and other talent, and I just think,
well, there was a moment in time there where Slaughter was a major act. I mean, platinum records and all that stuff. But boys, that era is long since sailed. So
for sure. But you know what, dude, that's funny to me is that if they were like, they obviously made it big, but if they were true musicians, or especially, I should just talk about Strum himself, like they would be all for like this up and coming young band of wanting to support them and give them a shot and everything else. And the fact that they weren't is you guys are fucking assholes.
Yeah, no, it speaks to their ego. And you would think that they were a young up and coming band at one point and would have died for an opportunity, but no. Yeah. So it's funny. So so thank you for sharing that video. And Mark Slaughter, by the way, what is he, 500 pounds now? And his acapella or his falsetto voice, it doesn't seem to be what it was.
Doesn't exist anymore.
Those notes are kind of hard to hit, I'll tell you.
Well, when you're up all day and you sleep all night, or no, up all night, sleep all day, your voice tends to go away.
Brewski, did we already talk about your show? We haven't talked about your shows yet, have we?
And we have not.
No,
Yeah.
yeah. So Brewski saw some concerts last week. Who'd you see?
Sunday I saw Priest and with Queensryche.
Oh, nice.
And,
Oh wow, local Seattle band.
but no, there's no Chris DeGarmo and no Jeff Tate in Queensryche anymore.
Oh,
But the new singer for Queensryche, he can hit the notes. He can hit the big ones.
Yeah,
Okay.
the fake Queensryche came through Tahoe a few years ago, and I was like, Queensryche, I fucking love Queensryche. And then I learned, no Jeff Tate, the singer, and no Chris DeGarmo, one of my favorite guitar players. So I said, nah, it's a cover band.
So
No.
the last time I saw Queensryche, Steve, was a show that you and I went to together.
Oh, really? Where?
We worked at the Showbox. It was
Yes. Yep.
it was for right after the tsunami in Thailand, and we were doing tsunami relief. And if it was with the rock station, and we were there as a part of the street team, and Skindred, this band from England, opened up, and that was the full Queensryche band.
Yeah.
That was nothing like
Yeah.
like now. And then
Okay. So how was the headliner?
Priest?
Yeah, Priest.
Rob was good. I had one. I mean, so when they played "You Got Another Thing Coming," there was like a little timing on like the chorus that was off a little bit to me. But I'm not going to get ticky tack about it. Everything else sounded great.
I see.
Don't get ticky tack about it, Brewski.
And,
Not with Priest. I mean, come on.
Not with
No.
come on. Let's not
No.
get ticky tack. All right.
How was the crowd there? Describe what's the age and what were they all looking like?
Believe it or not, there were actually quite a few young people there. And one kid in particular was screaming, saying, "I can't fucking believe this. I'm going to see Judas fucking Priest. This is amazing."
Like
and
in their 20s, young.
Yes. Yep.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And there was one kid standing behind me, and he was probably, I would say, 20, 21, and he was all glammed up, Steve. Like he was looking Sunset Strip, and you could tell his mom was at one point one of those girls,
Was he conceived at an old school Priest concert in the bus or something?
I don't know, but
A roadie baby.
and I'll tell you what though, and Rob Halford's got this big Santa Claus beard now. It's really kind of off-putting to me because it's this big bushy beard, but it's all white. And I'm just like, it's just a little weird. So
This is who we're dealing with, dude. I mean, they got to be in their 60s, right?
Oh, older than that, I bet.
older than that. I mean, when I saw,
You think they're in their 70s?
oh, but dude, I went and I saw the Scorpions in Vegas back in April, and Klaus is 75, 76. And
Wow.
he's the singer for them.
Let's
And,
see if Siri knows, because Siri can answer this most of the time. Hey, Siri, how old is Rob Halford?
Rob Halford is 71 years old.
Yeah.
71.
Oh,
Wow.
71.
Yeah.
I would have
And
thought he was older, actually. So, okay.
And the other thing, obviously, there's no KK Downing and Glenn Tipton anymore either. In the
dead?
band. No, well, one of them has something like Parkinson's,
Mhm.
and then the other one, it's just kind of like band stuff. You know what happens?
Sure.
People
Yeah,
get
yeah.
busy.
How long
And then-
does Judas Priest play for?
2 hours.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
No one dropped dead. That's good.
Nope. And then the next night I saw Maiden.
Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden. Nice. Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, I wanted to hear 2 songs, and they played one of them in the regular set, and the second one they played in the second encore. I wanted to hear Fear of the Dark and Aces High. Those were the 2 songs I really wanted to hear.
And you got them both, huh?
Yeah. Well, the Aces High one is cool because it starts off with a really great speech from Winston Churchill when he says, "We shall
Of
fight on
course.
the beat." Well, Aces High is all about the Battle of Britain and the RAF.
Fantastic. I had
which
no
is not-
clue.
Well, Run to the Hills. Look at the lyrics to that. That song is all about
Yeah, Nick.
Native Americans getting slaughtered.
Wow.
You know, and the
I had no
battle.
idea.
Dave
and-
Matthews stole "Don't Drink the Water" off of Iron Maiden. You didn't know that, did you?
No, I did not. And I don't think it happened.
Hey, Brewski,
anyway-
what are the women like at these Maiden Priest concerts? I mean, are there some hotties in leather bikinis, or are these like 7-year-old women? Their titties are hanging on the floor now, spiked
I
in leather
mean,
still.
there were some attractive women. There were more attractive women at the Maiden show than there were, but then also Maiden was at a huge stadium.
Mhm.
It was. Okay.
At the DCU Center, which is kind of like Key Arena.
Okay, so yeah, quite a bit of people.
Big place.
If you could have picked from one of these shows, in hindsight, like who did the better show?
Oh, Maiden by
Leaps and bounds.
Yeah, Maiden was just. I mean, Bruce was so on point, and he sounds so good. He really does, and the whole band was just super tight.
Nice.
And it's interesting because David Crosby, obviously.
Sure.
David, and I mentioned David Crosby because recently he saw that this guy named Vin Downs, who's one of these he's a composer, he's a guitar composer, and
right.
Vin Downs was talking about Maiden and how he enjoyed them, and David Crosby said, "Oh, I can't believe you like that noise." It's like, fuck you, David Crosby. Go snort a bunch of more coke and have another fucking heart attack.
That's weird for a musician to say, quite frankly.
It is, for sure. I don't agree with it. David Crosby is known for being somewhat of a dick douchebag.
Did anyone else just hear that?
I did.
That was weird.
I thought some you guys were playing something, so I didn't want to
No.
step on it.
Did you hear that, Nick?
No, what was it?
That there?
Yeah, there's like some weird feedback going on in our channel here. It sounded like
Hey.
weird, drawn-out fart.
Yeah, that.
It wasn't me.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I didn't hear it over here.
I don't know.
Well, maybe that's the universe trying to give me a segue because
Okay.
If we're done reviewing Slaughter, Iron Maiden, and
Yes.
Judas Priest,
Yes.
I have to tell you, I didn't realize how educational our show had the potential to be.
Oh, really?
We have been discussing, and I don't know why, because again, this is nothing on my notes, but we've been discussing crapping our pants and crapping in public and uncontrollable bowel movements. I mean, we've just had this recurring theme on our recent shows about,
We've been talking about it because pooping your pants 45 to 55 is on the rise.
Yeah, that's Nick's contention. And is that anecdotal, or are you researching this somewhere?
Lots of research, dude. 45 to 55, pooping your pants is on the rise across the world. I mean, really, it's not an American thing.
Okay, all right.
It's happening everywhere. So
STDs are on the rise, pooping your pants over age 45. It was funny. I was pulling clips from the show, and I realized I pulled two different clips of Nick talking about, dumping his pants. And I'm like, why? I don't understand why this is a recurring theme.
It's on the rise, dude.
One of them on the airplane, you were telling that story, and then you had
Right.
one about in your studio that you don't have a bathroom there, and sometimes you wait too long and can't quite make it to the house, and you do the penguin walk, which I wasn't aware that was a thing. But
really, you've never done?
I've
the
never heard the
penguin
term.
walk when you've had to poo?
No. And as I said, this has not been an issue for me, even though I'm into my 45, 55-year-old range. But
Brewski, you do the penguin walk before, right?
I have, yeah.
Brewski told a story about dumping in his pants, and Sister Brewski was
Yeah.
involved in it. And yeah, Nick, you had two different stories. And
let's be clear. I had one story about pooping my pants. Okay. The
Well-
other one was not about pooping my pants.
it was you threw up in your pants because you were busy pooping.
Oh, he
that's
was
true.
On the airplane.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
that's true.
He
That
was talking about walking from the studio up to the house.
That too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, and on that story, Nick, you shared with us that you said, I'm never going to poop my pants again because I'll simply just drop my drawers and lean against a tree and let it
Yeah.
fly.
for
Drop
sure.
while it's hot.
Yes. So for some reason, that story stuck in my brain, and I drive around town listening to our podcast back, and I had shared with you guys that I've never had any sort of cause to go dump in public like that until last week.
Little manifestation, dude. What happened?
I don't know if it's gotten in my head or what it is, but we have, again, unfortunately, been keeping people up to date on my intestinal issues I've been having.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm 3 weeks into this, gentlemen, and I am still having these problems.
You did not follow the brat diet to a T. Am I correct?
I've been pretty close. So here's the deal, everyone. I got on this medication that I took it for like a few days, and it hit my system wrong. So the doctor said, like, stop taking that. Like, maybe we'll try a different kind of medication or something. But I was vomiting on the first day. I was exhausted. And on that first day, I started having terrible diarrhea. And it has now been 3 weeks, and I am still having this issue. So last week, I finally got on the phone with my doctor and was like, listen, like at that point, it was 2 straight weeks of just a liquid diet, to say the least.
Even waking up in the middle of the night to
Oh,
have
yeah.
the diarrhea.
Oh,
yes. keeping me, yeah, middle of the night, or
Ooh.
just like you said, I'm working in the office, and all of a sudden, like, oh my gosh, like I got to run. So, she put me on what she called like super duper Imodium, like prescription strength, to try to firm things up. And then she told me to do the brat diet, which she was like, it's not the best term, but it's what we call it for little kids when they have uncontrollable diarrhea. We put them on a strict diet, the brat diet.
Right.
I thought she meant the brap diet, which ironically is where
You were like, I've been doing a lot of that.
yeah. So she put me on this. It firmed things up a little bit, but I've still been having just multiple times a day, just like rushing to the bathroom.
Are you raw?
Oh, good God. I can't even tell you. The Ring of Fire. I am Mr. Johnny Cash nowadays. Whew. Oh, it's painful. And it's literally painful and quite uncomfortable. So yeah, she put me on this, try this diet and try these pills, and let's give it 3 to 5 days and see what happens. So I decided to go out and ride my dirt bike last week because I needed some time up on the mountain, and the season's winding down around here. So I was smart enough that I brought some wipes with me. Like I thought, there's a distinct possibility I'm going to be out in the middle of nowhere and need to take a dump. And what am I going to do? Like I'm not ruining my jersey or anything that I ride
Change
with.
my diaper, Daddy.
Right. So I kind of thought ahead, like let me see what happens. And so I was out doing the BRAP diet, BRAP, riding the bike, and I stopped to enjoy a vista, take a little puff, and I was just like, oh boy. I'm the bear now that needs to go crap in the woods. But I heard Nick's voice in my head, like, don't wait too long. Don't just think you can hold it in. Don't penguin walk while you're out there on the dirt bike and bouncing up and down, going on these trails. So I thought, I'm going to take the Nick Reynolds philosophy. I'm just going to embrace this. And,
you have to do it, or you would have shit your pants, and it would have been a really uncomfortable ride home. So good for you.
Yes. So I got to tell you, these trees, I don't know what kind of trees you have in your yard, but you described leaning your back up against a tree and going into the squatty potty position.
Yes.
Now, I will say these trees that were around me, the bark on them was extremely rough, and a lot of them had sap on them. But I realized, like, I'm wearing my dirt bike gear, so I have a chest protector on. So I have a back plate on as well. So I was able to lean against this tree and use my chest protector for this rough bark that was on the tree.
Right.
And yeah, I this poor tree, I just destroyed this poor thing. I didn't realize what a reverse projectile I had per se. But and yes, I felt like. Yes,
go ahead.
I was going to say, you described the experience of having the fresh breeze going around you, and I was like, I hear what he's saying now. Like, his reviews were accurate.
Very nice.
Yes.
Dude, I love that you experienced what I was talking about. Were you at all nervous? Like, I was on my property, so I knew there wasn't going to be anyone coming around. Did you have to kind of be looking around to make sure no one was coming, or were you alone?
Well, I got to this lookout spot that I go to often, and it's at the top of a trail. So I knew if anyone was going to come, they could only come from the one end. And so I was keeping an ear and an eye open. And I had been up there for a good 10 minutes at that point, and no one had come and gone. And it's near the end of the season, so there's not as many people out there right now.
Sure.
But yeah, no, I definitely kind of looked around and just gave a good listen. Like, do I hear any engines in the distance? And I felt I had the all clear, and the internal clock was not going to give me too much more time.
Sure.
So, yeah, I squatted, I sprayed, I cleaned up nicely, and, enjoyed the view, enjoyed the nice mountain fresh air.
Dude, I'll tell you what, there's something, and I didn't anticipate it to be this way. I was using this out of necessity because I'll never poop my pants again. I was just like, I'm going to do this at the, first sign I can do it, I'll do it. So I drop on this tree. Once that breeze started blowing and I looked around and there's birds chirping, I have never felt so free in my entire life, dude. I felt like, you know what? I fucking made it, dude. I can shit wherever I want to.
You do feel very one with nature. I mean, they always talk about bears dumping in the woods, and it was me and Smokey Bear out there just letting it fly. So,
does Steve crap in the woods?
Yes. Yep.
Apparently he does.
I brap in the woods. I crap in the woods. I do everything with nature now. So, but yeah, it was so funny to me because I heard your voice from the show in my head and took your advice.
So glad, dude.
Congratulations.
Yep. So there you go.
And the rest of the ride down was all good. You didn't have to stop again.
No, I made it through, and I had a moment of like, "Eesh, I kind of used all my wipes here. I hope I don't need to."
What'd you do with the wipes, dude? Did you bury them? Did you bag them up? Pack it in, pack it out? What'd you do?
Listen.
Uh-oh.
I am a devout pack in, pack out. I ride in some areas down in Nevada where people leave cars, refrigerators, piles
Yeah.
of shit and dump, and like I never, ever leave anything behind out there.
Sure.
But I couldn't pack in these disgusting, just dirty wipes, so I did what I felt was the next best thing, and I buried them. I dug a little hole and buried them down deep. Like I couldn't throw that.
I understand, dude. You know what? I can
felt guilty.
attest to this. Steve and I have been out in the wilderness. Steve always, whatever he packs in, he packs out, and he treats it seriously. He talks about it a lot on the radio when people are coming into town. So I know that about you. You only did it out of necessity. First time in how many years that you didn't pack out?
Yeah, ever. I mean, I don't ever leave anything behind. So
there you go.
I did feel a little
you
guilty.
left something behind, dude.
I did, but that was fertilizer. That was organic naturalness. But
dude, it'll be wonderful if you go up to the peak next year and see the flower, a beautiful flower, right where that happened.
I fertilized it pretty well, so that's a distinct possibility. And
phenomenal. That
I will say, I've told everyone on the show before, and you guys know this very well. I'm a big Howard Stern fan. He is the king of all media and the most successful broadcaster. He pioneered this whole industry of people speaking their thoughts, and I used a lot of his mantras of just being honest with your audience and speaking from the heart. And years ago, what do you got there, Nick?
This is
You got there you go.
a Howard Stern duck that is the quack of all media.
That is hilarious. For those of you not watching us on YouTube, I didn't know you had a Howard Stern duck doll in your studio there. Man,
Yeah,
the quack
of all media, dude.
Stern went on a rant years ago that when he first said it, I was just like, dude, you're crazy. Howard Stern uses wet wipes after he takes a dump. And he told a story about, like, if you got dog poo on your hand, would you take a dry piece of paper and just wipe it off your hand and then be like, I'm good, I'm clean, I'm sanitized?
Right.
And I kind of thought, like, boy, he might be onto something there. And so when I had my first kid, we had baby wipes in the house. And I thought, like, let me try it. And I got to tell you, I am hooked. It is the most clean, refreshing way. Thinking now about using just dry paper.
Yeah.
I do that for the 99% cleanup, but then I always end with one nice, wet wipe. And I'm always embarrassed. Like, I don't want anyone seeing that I have baby wipes in my bathroom or whatnot. But
you should not be using baby wipes. I mean, they're so terrible on your plumbing.
I don't flush them. No, you don't flush wipes ever.
What do you do with them?
Garbage.
So they have poop on them and you put them in the garbage?
Yes. It's my bathroom.
And
I have a lid on my can, by the way.
I understand, but does it smell?
I don't notice it, no.
All right.
And I empty my trash like once a week when I clean the bathroom. So it's not like they're overflowing on the thing, but
of course.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's clean, it's refreshing. You feel so much more clean.
I 100% agree. And I'm on a septic. And you have to be really careful about even, bad toilet paper that you flush with, So I was sitting there with Rachel one night and I'm like, I really miss the fact of being able to use wipes because I never thought about just throwing them away. So she said, well, you could still use them. And I said, listen, I have an invention. What if we were to find the spray of whatever goes in there? There's like aloe and some different things in these wipes that you could spray on your toilet paper and then wipe and then flush it.
That's interesting.
I was like, this is a fantastic idea. I better make sure that it's not already a thing or I'm going to invent the fucking shit out of this and I'm going to be a millionaire.
No pun intended. Yes.
It's already a thing, dude.
Really?
And
I've never heard of it.
Yeah. I don't know what the name is, but I'll let you know. It's almost as good. Almost as good.
I'm not a big fan of wet paper, though. So spraying it on toilet paper, doesn't it just fall apart?
It doesn't. And that's what I thought the issue was going to be. It's such a soft mist over it that it doesn't soak into the paper to make it like dingleberry up. It just kind of makes it a little, it's like a half wet wipe.
Nice.
Well, so you've never done an Alabama wet wipe?
Say again.
You've never done an Alabama wet wipe?
What is it?
Just
Well,
get
you've
toilet paper wet?
That no, not your toilet paper, but you spit on it.
Oh,
Oh no, dude! I've never done an
that's a-
Alabama wet wipe.
no.
Yeah.
You do it often?
No. When I used to, so when I worked in this office in Boston, I used to go to a particular floor to go to bathroom because there weren't a lot of folks that worked on that floor.
Yeah, sure.
And sometimes, you're gonna blow stuff up. You don't want to do it on the floors where you work.
Mhm.
And sometimes you want a little extra cleanliness, but it's not like you can go to the sink because the sink is like on the other side of the bathroom.
Sure.
Yeah. So yeah, you just kind of, do a
Sweet
little
home
bit of-
Alabama.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
I've never heard about an Alabama
No.
wet wipe. Well, now this is the new thing. And Steve had a shot at this for a while in one of his properties, but Howard Stern has since moved to the Toto. Is that what it's called, Brewski? The Japanese toilet everyone's in love with.
Oh,
I think it's called the
is it
Toto.
a type of bidet or something?
Yes, pretty much.
Oh, it's a
The
bidet,
Toto is
yeah.
fantastic, but the bidet, he's moved to bidet. First of all, in his new bathroom, he moved to the bidet, and he's got a urinal in his bathroom, which I would freaking love to have a urinal in my bathroom.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I would. But bidet, bought the bidet. I'm now using bidet, and I have never been so in love with anything in all my life.
Really?
Yes, and you can now, Steve, buy the bidet I bought on Amazon. I think I paid $60 for it, and it just
Attaches to your current setup.
goes over
Exactly.
your toilet.
The last
It is
house I
so
moved into had
fantastic.
one of those. I threw it away.
Say it again.
The last house I moved into had one of those, and I immediately uninstalled it. I mean, first of all, it's a used bidet.
Yeah, that's
which
gross.
is weird.
Yeah.
But I just feel like, don't you get soaking wet?
No.
You don't. First of all, this is how this thing works so well. You can choose to have just regular water, or you can have the water heated. I thought I got to get the heated because I'm not a big fan of cold water just out of nowhere on my junk, right? But it's not that cold, and it actually feels somewhat refreshing. You can aim this thing so appropriately of where you want it to go that you do not just get soaked. You sit there, and they even have some that have dryers built into them. But what I do is do the bidet, and it leaves your butthole a little bit damp, and you just take a little bit of toilet paper and dab it off if you feel like you got too wet, and you're done. And it's just step out of the shower clean, dude. It's wonderful every time.
Interesting. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'll have to try.
Well, I'm gonna buy you one for Christmas, dude.
Oh,
Yeah,
So
Brewski, you want a
thoughtful.
bidet? I'll buy you one too, dude.
Bracing
so
that.
thoughtful.
It is
Yeah,
thoughtful. Yes.
I'll buy both of you guys a bidet. I want
I
more
mean-
people to be in this club.
It's a crappy gift, but
It is a crappy gift, yes,
But
but it'll
still.
clean it up right
Nah,
away.
nah.
Well, I hope you're starting to get solid, Harness. I'm glad you pooped on the tree, though. I'm glad you didn't poop your pants.
thank you. And by the way, just to follow up on your previous comment about the wastebasket having, poop covered rags in there.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be much on there.
No.
If you're doing things right, you're supposed to do 99% the old school with toilet paper, and then this is just a slight little cleansing.
Right.
Imagine if you dust something and then someone goes back with a white glove, and they're like, "Oh,
Yes.
see, there is a little left." That's what. it's for.
100%. Yes. I get that. I didn't mean to make it sound gross. I just hadn't done it before, and I wonder if you get the smell at all from it.
No, and I do have a trash can that has a lid on it. Maybe that helps, but no, it's not like just shit covered
Pooping,
rags
yeah.
in there.
I remember that when we were in Italy, we took my niece to Italy for her senior, graduated high school. We were like, oh, you can go anywhere you want. She picks Italy. She picked Greece.
Yeah.
When we get to Greece, the guy leads us to our first room, and there's a sign, and he pointed it out. He was like, make sure that you're not flushing any toilet paper. And she was like, what do you mean? I was like, oh, yeah, plumbing is not like it is in America and a lot of other countries, dude, that you cannot.
So,
all
what do
of your
they
toilet
do?
paper, you put it in the trash can.
Oh, that is disgusting. Then, how does that go over? They empty those things
I
daily.
mean, it went
hope?
over fine. Say it again.
They empty those trash cans daily, I hope. I mean, how
Oh,
do you
yes, of
that's
course.
terrible. Because
Yeah,
that is
no.
what you were envisioning, I think, just crap
Oh,
covered.
100%. I mean, you don't flush any toilet paper. Everything goes in the bin. And it's got a lid over it, that closes down on it. And they do, I mean, we were in hotels, so it's cleaned out every day. But yeah, you could not flush anything. And so like that in a lot of places, Mexico, Costa Rica, I had issues with, flushing toilet paper.
Interesting. Well, all right. Since we're talking about other countries, I brought this up last week that I have this topic about accents that I feel bad about, but I want to discuss if we're ready
Sure.
to move on.
Yeah, let's do it.
Occasionally, I have these things where I start to wonder, like, you sound a little racist as you start to say this thing. Like, we had talked with a dating coach that I felt like I was a dating racist because I don't seem to be swiping right on minorities. I go for blonde hair, white girls, and
You like what you
I feel
like.
bad about that. And as the dating coach said, no, it's not dating racism. It's just you have a type, and that's what you're looking for. It's not that I hate the other ones. It's just not what I'm looking for, right? But I still felt guilty about it.
Sure.
I have a similar thing about accents in audible jobs, shall we call them, like at the drive-through, or if somebody's a customer service relations on a phone where you can only hear them.
Okay.
I have recently been dealing with a government agency, and we've been going through some. I'll just tell you, it's the IRS. I mean, my ex-wife and I messed up a bunch of tax returns, and we've gone back and we've fixed them all, and we got everything squared away now. But I've had these conversations recently where I'm kind of in the final stage of just getting some of this paperwork done, and it's important paperwork. I mean, it's dealing with your taxes, your finances, and all this stuff. And anytime you're dealing with the IRS, you don't want to have a miscommunication of any kind.
Sure.
And this agent that I've been talking to, he has just a very thick Asian accent. And okay, so if you have an accent, that means English is your second language, and kudos to you. You've learned more than one language, so you're doing much better than me.
Sure.
But I don't understand how people end up in a job that is audio only when you have a thick accent. It's not that I'm hating on the guy, obviously, but I'm like, I need to understand the information you're trying to convey to me. Whether it's someone on the phone, or I've had this at the drive-through, like I'm trying to order and you're saying things back to me that I cannot understand.
Yeah.
And I feel bad about it because I feel like I'm admonishing you for having an accent, but that's not the point. The point is you have to communicate to me with your voice only, and I can't understand you.
It could be a situation. I mean, this particular thing, I understand what you're saying and have had struggles with this before. I think we all have. But this particular situation could be a thing where his first language is that he speaks that most of the time to people that he's calling.
Sure.
And
Or he grew up in another country and, it's just that ingrained.
Yeah, but I mean, they may use him to talk, if he's Japanese, to talk to Japanese people about this.
That would make sense. Yes.
Right. And then maybe, he's not busy enough, or somehow he landed your case. That is a good point that you make when it is something that you have to be so careful with about figures and numbers and directions of, is it racist, or is it acceptable to say, sir, I appreciate you. I'm having a really hard time understanding you. And I want to make sure that I get all of this right. Do you ask to talk to somebody else?
Right. That's the conundrum, because I don't want to. I'm not so worried about offending the guy at the McDonald's drive-through, but when you're dealing with the IRS, you don't want to piss them off or offend them in any way. So I kind of had that, but I thought, like, no, don't ask for. Can I speak to a white guy? Like,
Sure.
that's not going to go over well.
So
But then I found myself. Well, I was constantly repeating what he said. And I would say, like, sir, let me make sure I'm understanding what you said. You said this, this, and this. Is that correct? But then I feel like I'm talking down to him or condescending or something. And then I feel like I'm in a minefield and I don't want to be.
Here's the thing that you might be able to try is just to say, you know what, sir, I'm going to be upfront with you. I'm a little bit hard of hearing, and I want to get all this right. So if I can repeat back what I heard to you, and you can, acknowledge, yeah, you got it right. Yeah, you got it wrong. Just blame it on yourself.
That's a good angle. I like that.
I like that a lot.
I just don't understand, like, who put him on this job, or call people in America and English is your second language and you don't speak it very well. Like, I mean, How same with the drive-through. Like, okay, we got 10 people working the fast food line. Let's take the person who doesn't speak English very well and put them on the job where you only speak to people.
Well, I
I
think
just
you
don't
know, for,
understand
like,
how that happens.
I think for like telemarketers and stuff like that, people who are working, especially like minimum wage type jobs, you know, it's you get what you get what you get. And you don't throw a fit. You know.
So do you think the other 10 people at McDonald's speak English even worse? And that was just the best, you know, of all the accents. So
if we got Frank working at McDonald's and we just say, oh, Frank, you don't do the drive-through, people can't understand you. I think it's just like a rotation thing, right?
Or could that be some discrimination lawsuit for Frank?
Sure, I think maybe it could be. I don't know, but it is an interesting issue, especially like you said with the IRS, where you want to be getting everything right.
Yeah,
I've had the issue before of where I've just had to say, like, I'm having a really hard time understanding you, so I'm going to repeat myself, and I'm not talking down to you. It's just English is your second language, so maybe if you could talk a little slower to me, because I'm dumb, I don't pick up on it as quickly, and I apologize for that. You know, I don't know. It's a tough one, Steve.
It's one of these situations where I feel like if I was racist, or the next caller who will be racist, he'll say the same thing I'm saying. I can't understand you. You know, let me repeat this to you. Like I'm sounding like the racist guy.
No,
I'm not trying to be racist.
Here's the difference, dude, is the next guy who's racist has been like, you know what, can I talk to a fucking American? You know, can I have somebody else here? You know, they're going to be rude about it and demeaning about it. And you're not being that way. It's a solid issue of we're trying to communicate here. And I'm just letting you know I'm having some difficulty, but I'm willing. Obviously, I want to work with you. So, let's just make sure we get it right.
You know,
you've got an accent, Brewski. When you travel the country, has anyone ever been like, hey, Boston dude, I can't understand you?
well, I mean, for certain lingo, I'll get that here and there. I will tell you that for a while, I worked a remote job where I was doing customer service for Amazon. And this guy called, and he was just he's just like, where are you? And I'm just like, in my office. And he's just like, no, where are you calling from? Where am I calling to? And I was just like, Amazon. And then he's like, you're not American. I can hear you. I can hear your damn accent. And I'm just like, sir, I'm from Boston. No, you ain't from Boston. I'm just like, well, you know what? Maybe you might want to talk to my parents because, you know, otherwise I've been living a lie this whole time.
That isn't ironic. Boston is probably the most American accent, right? You know, the 13 colonies.
You would think, but sometimes, usually it's with lingo and that sort of thing. And I'll get folks in the Uber that are tourists, and I might, through just having a conversation with them, I'll throw in some lingo that's local lingo, and they're like, what's that? And then I would explain to them, like, somebody.
Do you ever say wicked awesome to get bigger tips?
Do you ever play the part?
Right. Do you ever Boston it up?
Boston, dude.
A couple times, you know. Like I asked,
you want me to park this car in Harvard Yard?
I'll ask people if they want to. Like if they'll say, "Are there stores around here?" And I'm just like, "What? You want to stop at a Packy?"
Right.
And they're like, "What? Well, what do you mean?" I'm just like, "A Packy. You know, you want to get some booze." So they're like, "You mean a liquor store?" And I'm just like, "That's what I'm saying."
Right.
You know,
I love it when you make people feel dumb. Like, I'm not sure what a Packy is. You know, it's a Packy.
It's a fucking Packy. Come on.
So for those who don't know, here in Massachusetts, whether we used to have a shit ton of blue laws, when you used to have to go and buy beer or booze, there was a law that like it always had to be put in a brown paper bag and like handed to you so that it looked like a package. So they would call it a package store. I'm going to a package store. You know, it's just blue law bullshit. But these days, like, I mean, everyone just calls it a packy or something like that. You know.
I got you.
Yeah,
I love that, dude. I love trying to learn not only different languages, but different areas across the country of they say different things. I love all that shit. I wish I could speak another language fluently. and have tried a few different times, and I'm just no good at it. I wish I would have learned when I was younger, because they say it's easier for your mind to kind of soak all that in. I had an interesting experience 2 nights ago. Rachel and I ordered DoorDash, and I get the text from the driver that basically says, I wish I could pull it up, but it basically says, I'm a deaf DoorDash driver.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you have any questions, you could ask me here. So I didn't have any questions, but I just wrote back something like, thanks very much, look forward to seeing you or whatever. So before he gets there, I think to myself, I start thinking about deaf people as a whole, and what a tough world that this must be for deaf people, right? Because this is a world not made for the deaf, for sure.
Yeah.
So I was like, I just want to learn a couple of things real quick when he drops my order off that I could say to him, right?
Oh no.
Yeah.
So I start Googling, and this is all I'm going to do. Brewski, why are you so disappointed already?
No, I just have a feeling. I don't know. I just,
Lost in
you know,
translation.
no,
I did not
know,
fuck it up. I didn't.
I know I would have messed it up. So that I'm just putting my mess up on you, and I don't mean to do that.
No, that's all right, dude.
So you just quickly Googled a few basic sign language things.
So this is what I Googled, dude. And I actually watched a quick YouTube video of them being done and said so I could do it.
Yeah.
So basically all I wanted to do was learn thank you, which is, this. You put your hand, it's almost like you're blowing a kiss without puckering. Okay. So, and then I wanted to learn be safe, like, as thank you, be safe, as he drives away. So be safe was something like this, and then you cross your arms and do this. 2 simple things. So when he gets here, dude, I walk out, and first of all, it's nighttime, and you guys know where I live. It's fucking dark, right?
Yeah.
There's no street lights, so I'm way out in the woods.
Yeah.
So he's getting the food out of his minivan, and I'm walking around, and I'm right behind him. And I start thinking to myself, oh shit, he doesn't know I'm here. When he turns around, it's going to be real. I'm going to startle him, right? So I kind of back up a little bit, and I think, I don't even know how to let him know I'm here other than flash my flashlight a little bit, kind of show that I'm walking. So he turns around and looks at me, and before he hands me the box, I have to do it, right? Because I can't do it with the box in my hand.
Right.
So he turns around, he's got it in his hand, and I do the thank you, be safe. Dude, I have never seen in my life, and I won't imitate it because I'm not trying to degrade what he did, but he made noise and like tried to show that he was excited that I did
appreciative.
This.
Yeah.
And I was, it really hit me hard as I was walking back down to the house of like, we could all try just a little bit to be more inclusive in areas that I don't even think about all the time.
Yeah.
Of people who cannot hear, dude. I mean, what a lonely sort of world that must be. But here this guy is out doing DoorDash, and I start thinking, oh, he has to keep his eye on the GPS all the time because he can't hear it, right? I mean, it's a much more challenging world without being able to hear. But yeah, I thought it was pretty cool that he was so excited about it, just trying just to tidge, just like a little bit to communicate with it. So I think I might try and learn ASL.
That's a good idea.
Right? I mean, just to be able to talk a little bit.
Well, you don't have to worry about the accent, I guess. So you're eliminating that part of it all.
Right. Yeah.
But I would be worried that there's such nuance in sign language that if you get the gesture wrong at all, that now you're offending the guy. So I would just give him the thumbs up and just call it good. It's like trying to speak a different language to somebody. Like if I mess this up at all, I look like a bigger moron.
Oh, but you know what? Even with that, like when you speak to people who, well, it's like when you go to Mexico and you speak just the little bit of Spanish that it's probably broken, but means enough to somebody that, oh, he's trying. He's not arrogant and think I should know English,
Yeah.
And I think it means something to everybody who knows you're trying to speak their language. When we went to Italy for the first time, I felt like such a douchebag when I got there. I was like, I'm so arrogant to think like all these people, I'm coming to visit your country. You should speak my language, and be able to host me properly. I saw a lot of people with that attitude.
Yeah.
So I try and learn at least the bare minimum before I visit anywhere.
Yeah, that's fair. And that's probably good on you. I mean, I see a lot of things, particularly in France, where they like to make fun of Americans trying to speak French. And it seems like, hey, he was trying, lay douchebag. Why don't you just give him some credit? But yeah, it does backfire a lot. So
when I went to France, that was the only place I've ever been where I felt they had disdain for me. Just, they did not like me, just straight out of the box, and that I don't think that they're welcoming at all. I don't have a huge desire to go anywhere in France.
Well, I enjoyed it quite a bit when I was there, but
Did you?
But I'm one of those people where, but even if I go someplace and it's obvious people don't like me or something like that, I don't care. I'm owning the room. I'm going in. I'm enjoying myself. And if you don't like me, all right, too bad. That's on you. It's not on me.
Yeah.
Sure. I get that. I'm that way most times. I guess just when you go to a country, the culture and the people are something that I'm seeking for the whole experience of where I'm going. So if you're an asshole just out of the bag, I don't have much interest in it.
All fair. Hey, Brewski, speaking of Boston and your other profession, driving Uber, you mentioned to Nick and I, you had something weird happen with Uber this week, or what was that?
Oh, so last night I dropped off this girl in a very affluent area in Boston, kind of a suburby type place, about 10 miles from downtown, kind of. And I picked up my next passenger, and my next passenger said, "I think someone left the phone in your car." And I'm like, oh, geez. So then she hands me the phone, and I kind of figured it was the last person I had just dropped off. So she was calling from her dad's house, her dad's phone, because on the screen it said dad. So I answered it, and she starts getting real aggressive right away. Yeah, you need to bring my phone back. And I said, this is Caroline, I just picked you up, right? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, no problem. I said, I'll bring your phone back. I was like, I'm on a ride right now. I said, but when I'm done with this ride, I'll come and I'll bring the phone back to you.
Which is very nice of you. You're under no obligation.
Exactly. So then I give this lady the ride, and she's going back to basically almost the same area where I picked this woman up. So it's 10 miles away. So we go to drop her off. This chick calls me back. Are you going to bring me my phone back? I'm outside. And I just said, I told you when I was done with this ride, I would have the phone back to you. And then she's like, you know what? I really want my phone back. And you know what? My dad's a cop, and he's tracking this right now.
Oh my gosh, dude. It's not like you stole the freaking phone. She left it in the car.
Right.
Exactly. This is on you, you asshole. So
talk about privilege. You fuck up and you're barking at someone else about it.
Oh, I know. So then I'm driving back with the phone at this point. Now I'm off the clock. I'm not getting paid for any of this at all, right?
Gas, nothing.
She starts blowing this phone up, like just calling and calling. I'm 9 minutes from her house, and she's like, "Where are you? How come you're not here yet?" And I said, Caroline, I will be there. I'm 9 minutes from your house. She calls back. I'm 8 minutes. This is 1 minute later. She did this for the next 3 minutes, just completely harassing me. So then I get to the house. There's no lights on. I got to walk up this dark driveway, and I have my headlights on. Knock on the door. The old man finally comes to the door, and I give her dad the phone.
Is he in uniform?
He's not a fucking cop. Because he was all confused, like, oh, you brought it back. And I'm like, oh, I thought you were tracking this phone right now.
Officer.
I thought about saying to him, like, officer, how are you tonight? And I'm sure he would look to me and said, officer, why are you calling me officer? But so then I can hear her in the background of the house saying, thank you. And as I walked away, I said out loud, I'm like, what a fucking cunt.
Wow.
And I made sure to say,
I would press charges for impersonating an officer.
Yeah, really.
well,
I would have told her your phone's going to be in the parking lot of fucking Fenway and you can find it yourself, you know.
Well, yeah, I thought about that afterwards. I should have said, well, if your dad is tracking it, I'm going to leave the phone basically where right in the area where I picked you up, and you can go and find it there.
Exactly.
What's protocol for that, Brewski? Because it can't be that you go drop it off again.
Well, you're supposed to reach out to Uber and let them know you found a phone, and you get $15 that Uber charges to the customer for you returning that phone to somebody.
Did you do it?
I reached out to Uber, yeah, and actually at first they lodged a complaint against her for harassing me and just being a complete bitch about everything, and I didn't get a lot of satisfaction out of that. All Uber said was, "We're sorry you had to deal with all that. We'll make sure that you don't get matched with her for a ride ever again." And I'm thinking, no, I want her banned from the damn app for at least a week.
Yeah. Really.
You know?
Did you get the $15 though?
Yes.
She leave you a good review, or she rag on you?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
Although I could look at my last reviews and see. I mean, I'm a 497 driver, which means that
nice.
Yeah, and I have over 4,000 rides.
That's impressive, Brewski. Do you take pride in that number, don't you?
Yeah. I give really good service. I mean, I'm kind of like a tour guide with folks too. A lot of times they'll be like, "What about this? What about that?" And I'll tell them stuff. And
you're made for that, dude. I'll tell you what. When I came to Boston, driving around with Brewski was second to none, dude. I mean, I got to learn everything about that city in a very short time, a couple of days. And Brewski had water for me. And he's just picking me up at the airport as a friend, right?
Yeah. How old was this woman, do you think?
Early 20s.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say between 20. She was at least 21 because I picked her up outside of a bar and restaurant. So she was between 21 and 25, I would say.
Yeah. Well, I've got an article here that talks about the pursuit of happiness. And it surveyed people all over the country to find out, at what age do you feel you achieved the peak of personal happiness in your life?
Okay.
And I ask because this 20-something-year-old is apparently not in the right age demographic. First of all, we've talked on the show before about the fact that, Nick and I are 46, Brewski, you're 51?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So, yeah, but I was saying to Nick that, we're kind of in the prime of our lives. We were talking about earlier in the show with my sex drive and whatnot, that in many ways we are in the prime of our lives, being in our, mid to late 40s. And do you see it that way? And Nick, you had said that no, right? You kind of felt like we're old farts at this point, or?
I mean, as far as personally speaking, I don't feel old. I still feel like I do when I was in high school. I mean, my body doesn't feel that way.
Yeah.
But but as far as this original conversation was are you into trying new shit? And can you learn new stuff? And I feel a little past my date in some of those areas.
What do you think? What age range do you think most Americans would say they achieved peak happiness in their life? 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s? Yeah.
I'll answer it for myself, I suppose. I mean, I'm still in a very happy spot in my life, but I think it's easier to look back in the past and be like, those were the fucking good times, dude. Those were some good times. So I would say 30 to 35, somewhere around there.
Okay. Brewski, what do you think would be the answer?
Yeah, I would probably say mid to late 30s, something like around there. Yeah.
So this company did a survey of over 3,000 people 65 and older to ask them, looking back on your life, like you were saying, Nick, when do you think, you were at your peak happiness? And they actually broke it down per state. But I can tell you that, I'll just do a couple of states here, but there's an obvious trend here. So California, the age is 44. Washington State, 46. Massachusetts, 43. Michigan, 43. Florida, 44. Oklahoma, 45. Texas, 43. Nebraska, 42. It's almost all mid-40s. There's literally only one state in the country that for some reason thinks their mid-30s was the best, and that's Maryland. I have no idea why, but But this survey shows that mid to late 40s tends to be what most people have said is the peak of your life.
I would say that it's a little bit easier. Well, I mean, I have less options, right? I mean, if you ask me this question when I'm 70, maybe I would say mid 40s, you know. But all I have is 46 and younger to look back on right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you feel like you're in the best time of your life right now, Steve?
Boy, I'll tell you. I mean, in some ways, I do. I feel like I'm in really good shape. I've had enough life experience to know the good, the bad, and the ugly. You know, I'm financially along enough in my life that I have dirt bikes and skis and toys that I get to go play with, and you know, independent and in every possible way. So yeah, I mean, me personally, my 40s have been kind of brutal. I mean, I went through a divorce. We've all been through a pandemic. I went through my last relationship. You know, the pandemic caused economy problems, which has fucked with the business I run. Like, I mean, so in a lot of ways, like anecdotally, no, my 40s have been kind of brutal. But putting that shit aside, like, no, I feel like I'm young enough and healthy enough to enjoy what I've achieved, but old enough to have achieved these things.
Sure. No, I understand that. What about you, Brewski?
Yeah, I feel really good with where I am right now. I mean, like Steve says, past few years have been difficult on all of us, and that's been the early part of my 50s. But it's actually been all right. I feel good.
Here's the thing, dude, is that I think as we get older, for me anyhow, and I would imagine it's for everybody, but for me anyhow, as we start to get to the age we're at, 46 to 50, there's been enough of life that has beat the shit out of you. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's hard while you're in or near those moments to be able to say like, what a fucking great decade, or what a great 5 years I've had. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe as I get older, I'll look back on it. And I do, I practice a lot in my life trying to be grateful for things, even when things can be shitty in certain areas, and try and gain some perspective. But if you're asking me to really say like, am I in the prime of my life right now? I don't feel like I am. Not at this particular stage. I don't think I am. But there's a lot of things I'm happy about. I'm really happy in my marriage. I'm somewhat happy professionally. I'm happy with the friends that I've surrounded myself with and the assholes that I've gotten out of my life. Like in all of those stages, like I'm happy,
Yeah. Well, we're going to have to check in over the next 10, 20, 30 years of doing the show and see, is the grass greener in hindsight or
it's right.
Or are we being dumb right now and like not truly embracing that this is the peak right now? You should be fully enjoying this.
I tell Rachel all the time, she'll look as she's getting ready in the morning and she'll see a new wrinkle or wrinkles on her face that she doesn't like. And I always tell her, like, if you think about when you're 60, you're going to be like, oh, damn, dude, I was so hot at 40. Like you need to gain some perspective on where you're at in life and what's great. Like experience the now, be happy with the now. But it can be hard to do. One of my favorite lines ever from The Office was when Andy Bernard said, I wish there was some way to know that you're in the good old days when you're actually in them,
Sure.
Yep.
And I do. I always think back like, oh, those were the good old days. But maybe these are the good old days right now. I mean, they will be someday, but let's live them like they are right now,
Yeah. I mean, I suppose the correct answer is every day is the peak of your life and should be treated that way. But, it's hard in the here and now to appreciate things like that. And
yeah,
it's easy to cherry pick the past too, to think, man, in my 20s, like, I was in a rock band and I was partying. Yeah, you're also poor and you were dumb and you didn't, have a lot of life experience. Like, I don't know. But I do feel like for the good and the bad, these are good times in our lives. And, there's been plenty of bullshit going on, but I don't know. There's still a lot to look forward to and a lot of life ahead of us. So I say embrace it.
I say embrace it as well. I hope that as we get older, like I see my mom going through this now, and maybe you do too, Steve. And I know that your parents went through this, Brewski, of where they're starting to see like their friend group die around them.
Yeah.
If they're lucky enough to outlive some of those people. And that to me seems very depressing to have to watch. Like, I mean, what would it be like? I know when I lost my dad, like his best friend is still here. And I see the depression in him, dude, that all of his friends are gone. Like he's the last one that has remained. And it seems very sad to me, So yeah, I guess we should just really look at these times like fucking the band's all here, dude. Things are great. The band's here. And because I don't think that it gets better as you get older necessarily.
Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes I look what's ahead and I start to do what my shrink calls future tripping, like, well, what if it goes this way and that way and this way? Sure. Then I just started like that, right here, right now. I'm alive. I'm healthy. I've got a roof over my head. I'm doing good things. Like maybe I should focus a little bit more on the here and now instead of where things could go or where they went wrong 10 years ago or 20 years ago. Like,
it seems to be a thing that can be tough, but the people that are able to do it well seem to be a lot happier. Rachel and I have this conversation all the time about like people in our lives that just kind of bop along and don't really think about stuff, how much happier they must be that they don't put like all this thought into, oh, the country's in despair or these people are being treated poorly. Like if you're just kind of ignorant and just kind of bop along, like maybe you're just a lot happier, dude.
Yeah.
Ignorance is bliss.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's really true or not, but it just goes against the grain of who we are, I know, to not worry about life and anything. So I don't know. But yeah, you're right. Maybe being a happy idiot might be the better way to go, quite frankly. Right. So it's that old thing with Spicoli, like, they said, like, don't you have a job? He's like, all I need are some cool waves and some beers, man. It's like Spicoli's definitely a happy idiot, and who knows where he is now. It's a fictitious character, obviously. But, I always worry, like, you got to plan for the future and all that stuff, but I don't know.
Yeah. I think there's got to be a good, you got to plan a little bit, but not over plan, right?
Yeah. Sure. Gentlemen, we have T-minus 5 minutes. Are there any other topics we need to get to or anything else?
Just one announcement that I would like to make is I'm doing my best to try and get on a path to become a vegetarian. You guys have tried Beyond Meat at all, or any of the meat products that aren't meat? Have you tried them, Brewski? No.
Yeah, I've here and there. Like I've tried like what do you call it? Seitan or how we always say it, Seitan, and like field roast.
I just don't get
field
the
roast
point.
Is kind of nasty, but have you tried
If you're going vegetarian, why do you want to have the good old taste of meats? Just embrace the vegetarian side then, right?
No, for me, it's more of just like I'm having a harder time as I get older knowing the way that animals are slaughtered, and it's more of a
become a moral issue, not a health issue.
Yeah, right. But I've been trying some of and I'm not there yet. I'm still eating meat. I'm still eating everything. Can't you tell? But this Beyond Meat, dude, is starting to get so freaking good that you can't really tell. Rachel and I got these buffalo chicken patties, chicken in quotations.
Yeah.
They're so freaking fantastic, and you cannot tell that they're not chicken. Beyond Meat just released that they're coming out with steak in like the next 2 months.
But what about the moral treatment of the people in the factories at these? Like, how far does your moral compass go before you're like, fuck it, I want a hamburger?
Only the people in the factories, dude, can stand up for themselves. They're not poor little innocent animals.
Maybe the chickens should learn how to arm themselves and fucking fight back. Like survival of the fittest. Evolution, baby. Are you anti-science now?
No, I'm not. And I don't know why. I've watched too many documentaries about the way that meat is processed and chickens are treated. Like I said, it hasn't scared me away from it yet. I'm still eating it. I'm just in the thought process of trying to get there.
You do know that the movie Soylent Green was set around this time, right?
No.
Around the 2020s?
Exactly.
Yeah, sure. So you can eat people because they can defend themselves, so you can feel good about that.
Yeah, I think we've already established I'm all into cannibalism, baby.
Oh, yeah, we did.
But why don't you then just eat from farms that are, treating animals humanely? I mean, I know they still kill them at some point, but not the factory stuff where they're all, living in their own shit.
Yes, yes. I see what you're saying. Have either of you hunted and killed an animal?
I grew up in Michigan where hunting was super commonplace, and
Yeah.
every October the school would empty out from people go deer hunting and whatnot. So I grew up around that, so I can understand it. But there was one time when I was a kid where I had a BB gun and I killed a bird, and I felt just terrible about it.
Yeah.
And so, like, my moral compass kicked in immediately. And so I decided, like, nah, I'm not going to go be a hunter. I understand that it's food and population control is a big thing with deers, quite frankly. But no, I've never gone full on hunting and killed an animal because I learned at an early age it's just not for me.
Brewski.
Having said that, I'm also not a vegetarian. I'll eat a steak or hamburger all the time. So.
Yeah,
I'm in the same mindset, dude, where I have killed an animal before and I did not like the way it made me feel. My nephew is a huge hunter, and I was quite impressed with the whole process of he always goes deer hunting. When he takes a deer out, like he spends like an hour with that deer, like being appreciative of like what
Sure.
it brought, and
And I
really
bet he
spending
eats the
some
meat,
time,
right?
like, say again.
I bet he eats the meat too, right?
100%. Yeah. It's
See, I can
not
respect
just a
that.
sport, right?
Yeah, sport hunting, go fuck yourself. You just want a trophy on your wall. But if you can respect the process and eat the meat and all that, then, I get
And
it.
to give thanks for the animal and what you've given up and everything seems good to me. So if it could all be done like that, I think I would feel better about it. But it's hard to know where, unless you're doing it yourself, where it's coming from and what kind of conditions and stuff like that. Like I said, I'm not there yet. I'm just kind of processing all this. And with this Beyond Meat getting better and better, it might be creeping into my life. That's all I'm saying. I'm adding it already into my diet where I'm probably about 20/80.
Well, I'm thinking about going pure sex robot because I think artificial women is the much easier way to go in this world.
I feel
So
like you've already done that, dude.
We're kind of on a similar path.
Right,
if science makes the fake version just as good as the real, then why even fucking bother with the real version anymore?
Somehow Steve once again brings it back into sex. You're a sex maniac, dude. We should talk about this on the next program of you're addicted to sex.
No. I embrace.
Mrs. Harness? Is your
All
son
right.
a sex addict?
Steve's a lover. What can he say?
Yeah.
Right, and I embrace it. Speaking of the byproducts of sex, I have a child to go pick up, so we got to wrap this thing up.
Ladies and gentlemen, episode 9 in the books for The Vocal Minority with Nick and Steve Brewski. Check us out online at thevocalminority.net. We record new episodes every Monday, and then we upload them Tuesday-ish, right?
Yep. Usually Tuesday at midnight West Coast time. So every Tuesday, basically look for the new episode. And yeah, please do find us on the social media. Keep sharing that stuff and keep spreading the good word for us. And thevocalminority.net if you want to get a hold of us.
Indeedy so. Brewski, have a fantastic rest of your week, dude.
You too, guys. Take care.
Stefan, take it easy.
You as well, Nicholas. Peace to everyone. We will be back.